lasts forever. Hello, MED. Hello, and Sama. Hello. We're here in our usual spot, and we're excited to do some activism. Let's see what's going to happen today. The weather is actually much nicer than I thought. It looks, when you're inside, it looks kind of like cloudy and like, oh, what the hell is this weather? But when you're here, it's actually not that bad. I do have a bit of a headache because of the runny nose constantly, but yeah, it's gonna get better, hopefully. Can you guys hear me okay? Hey, Jonathan, nice to see you here. I forgot who was first the last video. You guys want to try a social experiment? Hey, Martin, nice to see you here. Mitchell Donaldson, hello from Australia, says hello, Mitchell. Give me a second, I need to take this off. Here we go. How's the sound on your end? Is it okay? Good audio. Okay, nice. Yeah. Let's see how many people we get, and if we need to move. It's always a little bit of a stress for me, like where I'm sitting and if it's gonna be. Hey, you wanna try a social experiment? Okay. No injustice lasts forever says looking jacked as always. Hey, thank you for that. Yeah. I've been. I think that's why my cold is taking so long to clear up, because I've been working out every day. I'm one of those people who's like, I can't. Like, I tried last week. I tried for a couple of days, but I'm like, no more. So I worked out at home, and now I'm working out at the gym normally. You guys want to try it? I just ask you some questions. That's it. Okay. Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Okay.
What's your name?
Noah.
No, nice to meet you. Where are you from?
Friends.
Friends. Okay. So Noah, let me ask you, how do you feel about animals?
Animals.
Yeah.
I love them.
You love them?
Yes.
Why?
Because they are cute and we feel the love they gave you.
What if they don't give you love or they're not cute?
I love them quand même, also. It's not a problem.
Okay. Do you think it's okay to oppress animals? And by that I mean being cruel or unjust towards them?
No, they don't, how to say, but I don't have the word, but they don't receive, they have to receive love and not cruel act or anything like that.
Does this apply to all animals or just the ones that you like?
Every animal.
Okay. So if I were to ask you about cows, chickens, pigs, do you think that they also deserve love?
Yes.
Do you think they get love? No. Do you have anything to do with what they get? Like, are you maybe participating in something that could be oppressing them?
When we eat meat, we participate in this, but I'm not agree with the method they use. But,
So if you don't agree with the method they use, why do you pay for it?
because I need to eat.
But you don't need to eat meat, do you?
Yes.
Right. Like you can thrive on plants and plant-based products.
Yes.
So then, if you say you love animals or you respect them, can you love or respect animals by paying for them to be exploited and slaughtered? No.
Make me think.
Yeah, it's kind of a contradiction there,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it really remains up to you. What do you want to do with this contradiction? Because do you want to just like ignore it, or do you want to go on one side where you're saying, well, fuck animals, I don't give a shit about them? Or do you want to say, well, I respect animals and therefore I should go vegan because I do that?
I think I want to respect animals.
You want to respect animals?
Become yes vegan. If I can save them in way, I want.
Yeah, so going vegan means that you could save up to 100 animals per year,
Yes.
which is a lot of animals, isn't it? And if you say you love them, then yeah, you should already do that, right?
Yes.
So I see like you kind of understand this, but like, do you also understand the idea, the urgency of it? Like, do you understand that if you're gonna be buying an animal product, because you're gonna go away from this, you're gonna have your own things,
Yes.
and if you're gonna be buying an animal product, you are going to be putting an animal into a slaughterhouse, you are going to be oppressing them. Is that something that you want to do?
But I want, you make me think of that, and I want to, in a way, help animals. So I think I will decrease my
Consumption.
consumption of meat.
But do you think decreasing is enough?
No, I have to stop.
Yeah, you have to
everything,
stop.
yes.
Yeah, exactly. And how many more animals should be exploited, slaughtered, or disrespected for you until you stop?
A lot.
A lot?
Yes.
A lot of them should be?
No, I didn't understand.
That's okay, that's okay. So let me ask it this way.
Yes.
So going forward, how many animals do you want to be exploited and slaughtered for you? Until you change.
Nothing. Okay.
Nothing.
Anyone.
Exactly. That
Any-
would imply
any
going
animals.
vegan.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let me give you a card because do you have any questions for me? I'm vegan, by the way. I'm also a certified nutritionist, so
Is it easy to stop the meat?
I mean, to be honest, like depending on how you approach it, it can be easy or it can be difficult. Like
Okay.
with any dietary change, right? If you, I think that if you just replace meat with meat replacers, right? Like with soy products
Yes.
and all of these products that you find in supermarkets, it's going to be easier from the beginning. But if you don't want to do that because you're maybe scared of those products, I don't think they're inherently unhealthy, by the way. I think some are, some aren't. So it depends on you to choose. But if you don't want to do that, then it can pose a little bit of a challenge. But I don't see it as a difficulty, but rather as an experience of life, right? Because you're changing something, you're seeing what you like, I see it like more of as an adventure than anything,
Yes.
right? Because you're learning new things about yourself, what you like to do, and all of this would be coming from a good place because you would be caring about animals. See what I mean?
Understand, yes. Well, thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, let me give you a card. So one thing you have here, if you scan this QR code, it's called Challenge 22. They hook you up with a nutritionist. They send you recipes every day and help you go vegan for free.
Okay, thank you.
And I urge you to watch either the Minion or the most important speech you'll ever hear. Can you promise me you'll watch one of these two, just to learn about what animal
Okay.
agriculture does? Okay.
And what is your YouTube
You have my
channel?
YouTube channel over
Okay,
here.
it's
Yeah, yeah. What's your name again?
Noah.
Noah.
Thank you.
Noah.
And you?
I'm Chip.
Okay,
Noah, nice to meet you. Please make the compassionate choice, okay? Because the animals deserve it, okay?
Well, thank you.
Yeah, have
Bye.
a good one. Yeah, good start. I was not expecting that. Hey Ben, nice to see you here. And everybody, I feel like looking at the numbers right now, I think we're mostly just kind of with a vegan gang right now, and that's okay. Just want to tell you, like, if you do get trolls in the chat, if you do get people who are, hey Erwin, nice to see you. If you do get people who are like consuming your energy, take a step back. You don't have to answer to any of these people. You don't have to be the person who says, well, it should be like this or it should be like that. You can always just ask questions if you really want to do that, or you can just ignore some of the trolls. Nobody is telling you to speak to them, and I say this only because I don't want any of you to burn out or to feel the obligation to be there or to feel the obligation to do some form of outreach. Okay, like just take care of yourself. Do your best, and if you cannot stand it anymore, take a step back. That's fine. We're here. We're going to be having a long fight, and we're here to be, to be sustainable in a way. I hate to use that word. I know in all this context, but yeah, we're here to. We got to make everything that we're doing sustainable. Okay. Benji says we're doing fine. I'm glad to hear it, Benji. I've heard some stories of people who haven't had a great time because of the amount of trolls, because of the amount of people. And I just want to tell you that it's no reflection on you whatsoever if you cannot stand them, if you cannot, I don't know, accurately debunk their arguments or something. I mean, I'm sure you can, but by that I mean that they don't get it because, a lot of people will not eventually get it. So, No, wait, it's not about thanking my YouTube channel. It's about looking after yourselves. I really mean it. Look after yourselves. It's not about my YouTube channel. You know, if my YouTube channel tanks, I'll just go get another one and start another one where I do live outreach or something. Doesn't really matter. That I'll find a way to make it work. It's about, you know, realizing that we're going to be probably fighting for the rest of our lives for this cause, and you know, we got to be there. Hey, Miss Katie, it takes 100 clicks to become vegan. Exactly. Well, at the end of the day, we are all just one click, maybe two, maybe three. Who even knows? So it's best that we. You guys want to try a social experiment? It's best that we do our best. Yeah. Hey, U-tops. Nice to see you here. Yeah, best that we do our best, and that also implies by ourselves. Okay, just so that's all I wanted to say. Just don't burn out, or well, don't burn yourself out for nothing. Okay, some trolls are not worth it. Okay, that's it. You can say your thing and move on if you ever want to. And then you can completely ignore them. Just don't don't be emotionally involved in their arguments, because then you get burned out, I think. And whether it is successful or not, that conversation with them, just like my conversations with other people on the street, whether they're successful or not, it's not a reflection on how we do outreach or anything. It's more of a reflection on where that person is in life and where their values lie. Okay, so let's do that. What are you doing? What's the sign say? Well, my sign says I'm doing a social experiment. Come talk to me. And what we are doing, what you? Yeah, yeah. Are you okay being live from my YouTube channel?
YouTube channel. Hi.
Yeah.
I can say hi.
Yeah. You want to have this conversation with me?
Yes, but I don't want to be on camera.
That's okay. You can be off camera. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
nice.
yeah. What's your name?
Oh, I have to give a real name.
You don't have to give a name. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
So let me ask. Where are you from? Can I ask you that?
Yes.
Where are you from?
Originally where I live right now.
Tell me where you live right now.
I live in Germany now.
You live in Germany right
Yes.
now. Okay, perfect. Love it. So, how do you feel about animals?
In what way?
In what way? Do you think, let me ask you this, do you think animals deserve moral consideration? And by that I mean that if our actions impact their well-being, then we should consider it.
I do think that there should be more consideration, although it will be weird if it's coming from me because I'm not like not doing anything about it, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you know, I'm not here to try and judge people. I'm here to
Yes.
try and get them to see a little bit of a different perspective. I'm
Okay.
actually here to speak on behalf of animals and try to get people to understand the perspective of animals
Yes.
a little bit, right? So if you think from the perspective of an animal, how do you think an animal sees the world that we live in today?
I think I never thought about this. No, I never thought about this, to be honest.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
imagine this, like for every animal on this planet, regardless if they're wild, domestic, or how they are, for every animal on this planet, they don't have freedom to move like we do, right? Like
Right,
the
yeah.
world is dominated by us, and if an animal ever wants to be from one point to another, they cannot unless we allow them somehow, and they cannot communicate with us that they want to do that, so they basically cannot, right?
Yes, right.
That's one point. And then there's some animals on this planet that we disregard completely, which we exploit and slaughter for optional products. Do you know which animals I'm talking about?
I mean, I guess the ones that we're consuming.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. The cows, the chickens, the pigs, all of these animals that we farm.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's fair for us to do this to them, to be disregarding their well-being, their individuality, just for us to get some products out of them?
Yeah, I think it's. As I said, I'm also not a person who's vegetarian or even vegan or something. So I somehow believe it's part of human nature. You can criticize me on that. That's fine. To do this. Yeah.
But does that make it right? Because I would argue
No,
that.
yes, that's another point of view to say that.
Yeah.
To look on that. Yeah.
Because I would argue that violence is part of human nature, right? Hence why we have so many wars, hence why we fight so much.
Yes.
That doesn't necessarily mean violence is right to do so, right?
For sure. Yes.
So then, do you think that it is moral for us to, by that moral, right, ethical, however you want to put it, do you think it is okay to exploit animals? That means use them for our benefit and disregard their well-being in doing so.
If you think about it deeply, probably not. But yeah, no, probably not.
And if you think from their perspective, how do you think it would feel like for somebody who has power over you to use you and oppress you and like basically being cruel and unjust towards you
Yeah.
just because they have power over you and because they can. Would that feel nice? Would that be
Of
okay?
course not, no.
Of course not, exactly.
Yes.
And that's the perspective of animals that seldom we forget. So I want to ask you, you said you're not vegan or vegetarian,
No.
but seeing this perspective, don't you think that you should be vegan? No?
I don't, that would be like, I'm not convinced by it, no. But I also did not, yeah, there are 2 points. I did not go into deep research and I also did not give it more thought. That's
Yeah.
also, I need to be very honest about it.
Fair enough,
Yes.
But like, you do acknowledge that all of these animals in animal agriculture are specifically bred by
Yes,
us.
I know. This, yes,
And for us to use them, and when we can no longer use them, we kill them.
yes,
Like this is pretty common, and
This is-
this is the basic of animal agriculture, right?
yeah.
Would it be okay if somebody did that to you?
Of course not.
What if they're a different species and they're more intelligent than you? Would that make sense?
It makes sense, of course, yes.
Yeah. So then, being vegan literally just means respecting these animals. Of course, as a consequence, you don't consume their flesh, because just like I would assume you don't consume the flesh of dogs,
No.
because you consider
But in
them
some
morally.
cultures they do, so maybe it's also a cultural thing if you...
It is indeed a cultural thing, which animals we consider morally and which animals we don't. But
Yeah.
do you think it should be morally a cultural thing?
Yeah. Probably... Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, because like,
Yes.
there's cultures on this planet where they do female genital mutilation.
Exactly, which is also not alright. Yeah.
Exactly, which is exactly not right. So culture
Yeah.
doesn't really dictate what is right and what is wrong. It just dictates kind of like, hey, we these people do this because we've been taught to do this, right? You have been taught that these animals, it's okay to exploit and use them and kill them.
Yes.
But if you think about it, really, is it really okay to do this to them?
I mean, probably not, no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there a difference between these animals and, let's say, a dog? That would
No,
just...
I mean, it's... Yeah, no, it is... Of course, it's also an animal like any other.
Yeah, exactly. And just before you go, I want to, do you know dairy industry, which the industry that produces milk?
Yes.
Just to kind of get a little bit glimpse of what I'm talking about. Do you know why cows produce milk?
No?
So why would you produce milk?
Yes, so to feed the children, yeah.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. So for the same reason, they're mammals just like us, so they
Yes.
produce milk after they've had babies. What do you think what do you think happens? Farmers wait until they get pregnant, or do you think they
No, they
impregnate
would,
them?
of course, yes.
Yeah, they forcefully impregnate them.
Yes.
If we did that to a human being, what would we call it?
Yes. Yeah. It's true.
Okay, that's one. And two, when the babies are born, what do you think they do to them?
Yeah.
I'll give you a hint. They are not allowed to drink their mother's milk because the milk has to go for
because the
human
milk has
consumption.
to be for the humans.
Yeah. So they actually separate them from their mothers,
Mm-hmm.
so they don't drink the milk. If they're born male, they're considered useless for the industry.
Okay,
What
yeah.
do you think happens to them then?
May slaughter? Yeah.
Exactly. And if they're female, same fate as their mother. Every year, forcefully inseminated, have their baby stolen
Yeah.
and exploited for milk. And
Yeah.
at some point, they kill them. Do you know when?
We're running right this way. Wir müssen los, oder? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Do you know when they kill them?
No.
When they can no longer get them pregnant.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that not fucked up?
It is.
Yeah. Is this something you would gladly give your money to?
Probably if there was more awareness about it, no. But right now, I'm doing it, so.
Yeah, but
And
I'm
you-
bringing it to your awareness, right? So
Yes.
I'm just questioning you going forward. I
So
don't care what you did
your,
with the plant.
Your work is about like
Animal rights, yeah. I strictly
awareness, or is there like active
awareness, but I also would like people to change, because
Okay.
the only reason why these animals are in these positions, the only reasons why farmers do this
Mm.
to animals, is because people pay for it, right?
Yeah.
If people wouldn't pay for it, farmers wouldn't do it. It's a business to them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we have to go.
That's okay. Let me give you a card before you go, and
Yeah.
I just want one small promise from you, and that is that you will watch a video just to kind of understand what we're talking about here, because I feel like, as you said, you weren't aware.
Yeah.
Watch the minion. You just
Okay.
have to scan this QR code, okay?
Perfect. Thank you. All right. I will
How
do
many
so.
more animals do you want to be exploited for you going forward?
Yes, of course. For me, it's now like looking deeper to it, and yeah.
Okay. Well, look deeper into it, and don't wait too long, because if you were in their position, somebody else would literally say, "Well, no, I'll stop. I don't want to
Yeah.
put you in that position." You see
Yeah.
what I mean? So let's think also from the position of the victim, okay?
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Hi, can I ask you something?
Sure.
It's a social experiment you're doing.
Oh, I just ask you some questions.
Okay.
You okay being live for my YouTube channel? You wanna do it?
Not my face. Is that okay?
You wanna be off camera?
Huh?
You wanna be off camera?
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. You wanna become closer? So is your back okay to be seen or?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, I'll come like that. Oh.
We have a lot of watchers.
No, it's like 50 watchers right now. It's
Oh,
not a
yeah.
lot, but like, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
it. That's it. Okay, what's your name?
What did you say?
What's your name?
Miriam. Miriam.
Miriam. Okay, okay. Where are you from?
From here, Amsterdam.
Oh, okay, love it. Miriam, how do you feel about animals?
Animals, I love them.
You love them.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be okay to be cruel or unjust towards animals?
To hurt them, you mean?
I mean, cruel or unjust in any way that's
No.
possible.
No.
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 So then, would you think it's fair for us to use animals for our benefit and in their own detriment?
No.
No.
Of course not.
But do you think that there is something out there that we are doing to animals that is this way?
I think we do, but I don't know what we can do to help them. I don't know what I can do to help them. You know what I mean?
I appreciate this attitude. Yeah, completely. And would you like to help them?
Yeah, I would like to help them, but I mean, like you could donate, but I mean, it's so useless. You could donate, and that's the
Fair
only
enough.
thing you could do.
Yeah, and I'm not here asking for donations or anything like that. I don't want money. I just want to see people. I want to kind of understand where your values lie.
Yeah.
And it seems like you think you respect animals,
Yeah,
correct?
of course.
But do you think that you can respect animals while at the same time pay for them to be exploited and slaughtered?
No, I would wish for them to not not happen, of course, but yeah, it happens, and I don't know what to do to it. Yeah, I don't know what we can do about it, or what people we need to take care of, or who we need to speak of, so we don't need to, so the animals can live and everything. So yeah,
Do you think that? Are you vegan, by the way?
no,
No.
No.
But do you think that then when you're consuming animal products,
yeah.
you're essentially doing exactly what I just mentioned?
Yeah.
You're being cruel or unjust towards some animals?
Yeah, and what you're saying, I was considering last time with my dad. I said to him like, why are we eating meat?
Yeah.
I didn't feel, I didn't want to eat meat because
Yeah.
we're Muslim, and in our country it's likely to eat meat. We have Eid, of course, so then we slaughter a cow or I mean a sheep.
But you don't have to do any of that.
You
right?
don't have to do any of that. So and this year we aren't going to do it because we don't want to.
I appreciate that. So
Yeah.
you're not going to be slaughtering an animal for the tradition,
Yeah,
right?
because we don't want to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then again, if you are going to go into a supermarket and are be buying an
Yeah,
animal product,
yeah.
we end up on the same place,
Yeah.
right? Where a different animal gets slaughtered for us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, take for instance like dairy cows. Just to put it out there, do you know what dairy cows, the cows that produce milk?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why they produce milk in the first place?
I know from last time, like 2 weeks ago, I know how milk is produced.
Yeah. Can you
Uh,
walk me through it? I just want to be sure that you have the right idea.
I know how milk is produced. They pregnate the cow, and then they slaughter the baby, and they get the milk. That's exactly how it goes.
Yeah, and they separate the baby
And
from
they
the
separate
mother.
the baby from the mother, and they get the milk only. Because when the baby is born, they need to feed the baby, of course, and that's the milk.
Yeah.
But they leave the baby away, and they only get the milk.
They kill the baby if it's male.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah, and if it's female, they leave it.
Yeah. What do you think happens to the females
They get again pregnated
every year?
every year again and
and
again.
at some point they kill them. Do you know when?
Yeah, for food.
But do you know when they kill them?
I think when they can be pregnated again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When they can be used. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does that sit right by you?
No.
No. It
And
doesn't.
that's when I stopped drinking cow milk. That's 2 weeks ago.
And that's already great.
Yeah.
But cheese, also all the other
Yeah.
products that contain milk
That's also
are
contains
basically
milk.
the
Yeah.
same thing, right?
It's little steps. I'm trying. Yeah.
Little steps, trying. I appreciate that, and that's already great.
Yeah.
Let me ask you: if you're in the position of the animal, would you want the other person to say, "I'll be taking little steps," or would you want them to say, "I'll stop"?
I would love them to say I will stop, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So where exactly are you having difficulty, or what is holding you back from going fully vegan right
I
now?
think it's just normalities. I grew up with everything. I grew up with cheese. It's just normal for me. You
Yeah,
understand what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And I think it's difficult for me to just throw those away out of the door without any hesitation and don't look back ever.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard for me to do it. And yeah, I do it because a few years ago when I would never even say this.
Yeah.
So I love it that I even can say this and that I even want to improve myself.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So you're changing your mind.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
you're saying,
yeah.
right? And do you think like, and it's not a gotcha question. I just kind of want to put things into perspective, because your actions, my actions, whenever we do this kind of stuff, we're impacting some animals, right? So do you think, because they're the victims in this action that we're doing, do you think we should be considering just our perspective or also the victim's perspective?
Yeah, also the victim's perspective. of
So then
course.
let me ask you, do you think it's more difficult for you or for them?
For them.
For them,
Yeah.
exactly. So from that position then, does that incentivize you in any way to understand that maybe you shouldn't be continue doing it at all?
Yeah, of course. But I know it's wrong,
Yeah,
but you can't say to me you need to stop it right now and you can't do it again because I know I will fail. So I can't say to you I won't do it ever again because I will do it.
but can I ask why? Because like if you live here, you have so many alternatives, right? Like, and it's so readily available. They're easily labeled vegan products in supermarkets. You easily can just like go into and almost any restaurant has a vegan option nowadays. So like it sounds to me like it should be relatively easy.
Yeah.
What exactly? Like I understand you have a kind of a habit,
Yeah.
but is there anything else other than habit?
I can't say anything else than you're right, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just like a habitual
Yeah,
thing, right?
yeah.
Yeah, you know, like, and with habits, it's what's usually happening is that it seems hard to change,
Yeah.
but the minute you start, it's like, why was I, you know?
Why was I even?
Yeah, because like it's like one of those things when it's hard to get out of bed, and then after you get out of bed, you're like,
Oh, yeah.
easy.
It was okay. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, I'll ask you one final question. This is a difficult one.
Yeah.
How many more animals should be exploited for you until you make a change?
To exploit, like to be killed and everything. None. I hope.
None? You hope, okay.
I
Well, I
hope.
appreciate that. You
Yeah.
have vegan values. You should
Yeah,
be vegan.
I hope they don't. I love animals. I have a cat, so yeah, and I just love them.
Yeah, and like, can you? I think I asked you this already, but can you love them and exploit them?
Yeah. I think I do that now, but it's not fair actually.
It's
Yeah,
not, because
yeah.
we're kind of turning a blind eye to
Yeah,
these other
yeah,
animals.
to the
but
other. We're
yeah,
choosing actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming you, by the way. I know that the animal agriculture, you know, they intentionally make this because you see this clean meat in a supermarket, you see their clean products.
Yeah.
But then if you look what happens behind, it's
Yeah.
nothing but clean. It's like
They slaughtered.
gruesome,
Yeah.
slaughter, blood, everything is just
Yeah.
horrible. Let me give you a card before you go. I urge you to watch either Dominion or the most important speech you'll ever hear. Dominion literally shows you what animals go through.
Mhm.
It can be a bit gruesome, so if you cannot stomach that,
No, I will show
watch
it.
the most
I'll
important
watch
speech
it,
you'll ever
yes.
hear. And another thing you have here, it's called Challenge 22. They hook you up with a nutritionist and send you recipes every day for free. They help you go vegan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I will use it. Thank you.
Okay, you have my
Appreciate
YouTube
it.
channel also
Yes.
there, and yeah.
I
that's
hope
it.
you're doing okay, and I hope your interviews will go well.
Yeah. What was your name again?
Mariam.
Mariam.
What's your name?
Chip.
Chip. Okay,
Yeah.
I will remember it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a good one. Bye. That's 2 for 2, huh? 2 good conversations so far. Was it 3 actually? We've had 3 conversations already. Yeah. I feel like when I'm calm, people kind of relate a little bit better with me, but we'll see, because you know we haven't gotten the weird people yet, right? We just got like some nice people here who've been wanting to actually change for the animals. We've been getting some people who kind of understand the perspective, and this one person who really literally didn't know anything about it, but you know, I think they're going to be looking into it. And I think if this person, oh, Marcos, oh my God, thank you so much. Just a small vegan cup of coffee and you small vegan snack. Thank you, Chip. Marcos, thank you so much. Thank you, I appreciate you. And, you know, doubly for Marcos, it's amazing. That vegan teacher says, I filmed this and I will post it as a short. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, you know, Miss Katie, if you do that, I would love to see how you do that, because I don't know how to pick some of these conversations and how to pick them apart and create shorts from them. I really want to do that, but I really don't know exactly how, like which parts to do that. Cancelled Explorer says other animals eat other animals. Yeah, that's true, Cancelled Explorer, they do, but you know, we don't derive our morals or our values from what other animals do, because then we would end up in really weird places, you know. Other animals, when they don't like their children, sometimes they reject their children, and what do? They let them die, you know. We don't do that. We wouldn't never do that or think that is okay to do. Other animals, you know, in lions, what they do is they kill all the males in a pride. A pride is just a fancy word for saying a group of lions.
Can I talk to you?
Yeah, sure.
Hello.
Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Yeah, that sounds cool.
What's your name?
I'm Brandon.
Brandon, nice to meet you. Where are you
Nice to
from,
meet you.
Brandon?
I am from Boston, Massachusetts in the U.S.
Boston, Massachusetts, U.S. Okay, Brandon, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How do you feel about oppression?
Oppression,
Yeah, that means cruel or unjust treatment.
cruel or unjust treatment. Obviously, I feel like it's wrong.
It's wrong. Okay.
Yes, and definitely has been an issue in the past, as we know, in many different circumstances.
So let's imagine that there's one individual who has power over another individual. They have power to oppress them. Would you say it is moral for them to oppress them?
No. If they have the power to, I think if you are in power over someone else, you should do your best to have them prosper as well. Circumstantially, though, depending on what it is, if they can create harm towards somebody else, I think that if you need to oppress them to suppress that, then that could be a case.
What if they get some form of benefit from oppressing them? Would that make it right?
No, I mean, that's selfish, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what if they've been doing it for a long time? Does that make it right?
No.
No. Okay. So then let me replace the second individual, the individual who doesn't have power, with a dog.
Yeah.
We clearly have power over dogs.
Yeah.
Would oppressing dogs be okay to you?
No. I mean, there's definitely if you cause harm to the dog, but I think like as humans and as owners, I think we have to oppress them in some way because we have to control the way they act.
But we do it for their benefit. When
yeah,
we do
yeah,
that, right?
yeah, I
So
agree.
it isn't cruel or unjust towards them.
Yeah.
We rather just try to take care of them. It's just like parenting in an essence, right?
Yeah.
Because when we're parenting, sure, sometimes some of our actions can seem bad to the child, but we're doing it for their benefit. We're not doing it for our benefit,
Yeah.
right? It's the same thing. So if you said in the case of a dog, it would be wrong to be cruel or unjust towards them, right?
Yeah.
What about other animals like cows, chickens, pigs?
Yeah, this is actually a topic that I find really interesting because I've like volunteered on farms. My mom's a huge animal advocate.
Yeah.
I think the treatment of a lot of those animals in factory farming in general is pretty horrendous. I personally only buy from farms that pasture raise their animals and treat them humanely. So that's
But all of them kill the animals,
Yeah.
and all of them bring them to life for the sole purpose of killing them, don't they?
yeah.
Is that actually not cruel or unjust?
Yeah, when you put it that way, I think so.
Right.
Like for me, I personally really enjoy to eat like chicken and steak, and I have that in my diet as well. You could also talk about seafood, for example. I
Yeah.
mean, fish. I also fish, and you could say like the hook in the mouth is
It's very
cruel. Yeah.
because they asphyxiate to death.
Yeah. So I mean, there's definitely. I mean, when you think about it in that way, I think there is definitely wrongs to it.
Yeah.
And the idea of being vegetarian or vegan, my mom is a vegetarian. She tried doing the vegan thing for a bit, but wasn't able to continue with it. But
So I'll ask you what do you think vegan is, but before I ask you that,
Yeah.
I'm curious. Do you know what dairy cows go through? Because I'm sure, like, you've only talked about meat, but
Yeah.
like, do you know the
Yeah.
specifics of dairy farming? Have you been on dairy farms?
well, so I have, but I don't know the exact like specific. I don't know which context it is if they take the babies away.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is pretty cruel.
And who gets them pregnant? Do they get pregnant on their own?
No,
or the farm?
the farm I believe does it. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that right to you?
No, no, I don't think so. I definitely don't think that, and I don't know if that falls under factory farming. I think the big,
It's standard practice.
yeah, standard practice.
Yeah.
I do know like on some of the ranches that are like in Montana, for example, I've gone out to Bozeman, Montana, where they let the calves stay with their mother and they do it naturally, which I think is the good way to do it for sure.
But even on those farms, you will notice
Yeah.
that there are no males. Do you know why? Because do you know what happens to the males?
No, I'm not sure. Is that the bulls? Like technically,
So
bull-
they
yeah.
keep one or two bulls on some farms in order to be able to use their sperms or
Yeah.
to impregnate other cows. But the reason why there are no males there is because they don't produce any milk. So
Okay.
dairy farms, the cows that are for milk,
Yeah.
they're a different species than the cows that are for meat.
Oh, okay.
So the dairy cows that are born male, they slaughter them because they're
Oh,
useless.
really?
Yeah, they either grow them up to a year or two or three maybe.
Oh.
That's the best case scenario, but then they slaughter them.
Do they
yeah.
use them like their resources for their meat or anything after they kill
I'm
them?
sure they do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure they do. Yeah, but yeah, that's one thing. And if they're female, every year they repeatedly impregnate them, as
Yeah.
you said, take away their babies and use them for their milk.
Yeah.
And at some point they kill them. Do you know when they kill them?
I'm not the babies.
No,
Or
the
mothers.
mothers,
I'm
yeah.
not sure.
So they kill them when they can no longer get them pregnant.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, because then they would have to wait another year for a life cycle, and that means feeding them, and that's expensive to them. You know?
Yeah.
Isn't that cruel or unjust towards
Yeah,
you?
I think so. I think so.
And this is just scratching the surface of it, because if you go deeper, it gets even worse.
Yeah.
Right? And this happens on small farms, large farms, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I'm from Romania originally.
Okay.
And I've seen it in the backyard of my grandma. This kind of stuff
Yeah.
happening, and It's just gruesome, because if a human being was in that position, we would say, hell no, let's not
Yeah,
do
of
this
course.
to them, right?
Yeah.
And in that sense, I think, of course, we're different to animals, but we have feelings, they have feelings, we have thoughts, they have
Yeah.
thoughts. We're kind of the same in all the ways that really morally matter,
For
Wouldn't
sure.
you say that?
Yeah, and I also think that this one of the animals we haven't said was pigs.
Yeah.
They are super intelligent animals.
they are.
I've tried to stay away from pork, and also like veal is different, but that's baby.
Yeah.
My mom.
Those come from dairy farms.
Yeah, so my mom has definitely put that in my head with the pigs and the way that they're super intelligent and have feelings and can differentiate people, which I think is pretty cruel the way that they kill pigs. Yeah.
But is intelligence really the threshold that we should be judging whether to exploit and slaughter individuals or not?
No, because I mean, no, I don't think so. I
No.
guess I mean some animals could be not as intelligent. So dogs, there are some dogs that are way stupider than other dogs, and you shouldn't be killing other dogs.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And like, if I were to ask you, if there's no more meat or animal products in the supermarket coming from the traditional animals that we normally exploit, but it's only from dogs and cats.
Yeah.
Would you still buy them knowing that cats and dogs are exploited on the other side of it?
Probably not. Yeah.
Probably not.
No.
And how long would it take you to stop if that were the case?
To stop eating meat?
Yeah.
Oh, probably immediately.
Yeah, probably immediately. Okay, so I appreciate that. But like, do you think that there is anything special about cats and dogs that gives them more moral consideration than any other animal?
So the only thing I think is that I think they're more standard in people's brains. I
Yeah,
think they
yeah.
are more common. Obviously, like most people. This is my girlfriend right here, by the way.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think many people have experience with cattle, or have experience with a horse, or have experience with chickens and how to take care of them in a coop.
Yeah.
So when people don't have that intelligence or really know or understand, then you wouldn't feel the same way between cats and dogs because you know them more familiarly.
Yeah, and you're right, but this is like the extrinsic value that we place on them, right? It's the outside value. It's the value that we place on them as individuals. But do you think, is that what should matter? Because do you think we should live in a world where the value that matters is the value that individuals place on others, or the value that they themselves have, like the intrinsic value that they have? Like, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
Like, if you value your girlfriend a lot, let's say, and you value me almost nothing because I'm a stranger to you.
Yeah, sure.
Does that mean that my life is worth nothing, or that I shouldn't be considered morally because the value that you placed on me is worth nothing?
Well, no, because you value yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think that you should place the same value on everybody. I think that you should treat everyone equally.
And do you think
no
this
matter what.
applies also to animals? Do you think that they value themselves, they value their own life?
Yeah, especially the ones that are. I mean, you could say fish are not very intelligent, but I'm sure they value their lives to an extent, and
Exactly.
the ones that are more intelligent definitely do.
Because they have a subjective experience of the world. That means they kind of like we do. They experience life. They want to feed. They want to feel love. They run away from negative emotions like we do. They go towards positive emotions like we do. They behave very much like us in all the ways.
Yeah.
So you're right that intrinsic value matters more, as you mentioned it. You're right that animals value more. So then, when we come back to this example of dogs and cows, do you think that the value that we place on dogs should mean more than the value that they have themselves?
Oh, that's a tough one to get your head around. No, I mean, it's tough to say because obviously they're not humans, and I mean when you're talking about like the animals in general, I think dogs, when you have them as domesticated animals, as pets,
Yeah.
I think they view things differently than maybe a cow would. I guess cows, like, they're so different. I'm not sure how to go about that.
They are
yeah.
different. They're different, but from their perspective, do you think is there that much of a difference from the perspective of
No,
a cow
probably
versus the
no,
perspective of a
probably
dog?
not. No, I mean because they both have the same. I mean, cows are intelligent as well.
Exactly.
So I think they both like know what's going on and understand what's going on. So
Yeah,
no, I
and-
don't think you should value. Yeah.
And I mean, there's differences in personalities between humans. There's differences in cognitive abilities between humans, right?
Yeah.
And at some point, we realize that all humans kind of have a good subjective experience of the world, and we wouldn't harm them because we value that subjective experience that they're having. Yet when it comes to animals, we only seem to give that to dogs and cats because we've seen them in our house, because
Yeah.
we've given them love, and we acknowledge that for them. But you who has worked on a farm and you've seen these other animals, you can also acknowledge that they have the same thing, the same subjective experience,
Yeah.
the same desires that they want to live and
Yeah,
procreate
absolutely.
and do whatever they want to
Yeah.
do, right? So then, wouldn't you say that then because you said when it comes to cats or dogs, if it were only that in the supermarket, you would stop immediately.
Yeah.
Then shouldn't, if you want to be morally consistent, shouldn't that also apply to all these other animals?
Yeah, and I think that's definitely something to consider more. And after this conversation, I think it will be definitely something I consider
Yeah.
more. And also where I get my products from. I mean, I feel like I'm someone that I really, for like the way that I work out or my diet, and I'm also like, I play baseball, so I think we're always trying to like have the most protein in our diet or whatever.
Same.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
are strong, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it will be something that I'll be more attentive to,
Yeah.
where I get my products and who I'm getting them from. I don't like, for my mom, she was always trying to get my sister and I to maybe cut down on some of the meat we buy, or where we get like not McDonald's or fast food or whatever. So yeah, I think that's something to be more aware about when you go into a supermarket.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be a good enough advocate for on behalf of. I wouldn't be speaking right on behalf of animals if I weren't to tell you that. Do you think it's important that you reduce, or do you think it's important to stop? And let me put it this way: if there's another injustice in this world, let's assume I would be beating women, beating up women every day with a lead pipe.
Yeah.
If you, just to draw a little bit of parallel, when you
Yeah.
say you go to a better farm, it would just mean that I beat up women, but with a stick instead
Yeah.
of a lead pipe.
Yeah.
Right? They're a little bit
Yeah.
better treated, but I still beat them in the end.
Sure.
That's one. And two, reducing would mean that I do it only a couple of times per week. It would still be an injustice,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? Right?
Yeah.
And I would still be part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I want you to ask yourself, and that's hence where this next question will come from. How many more animals should be exploited and slaughtered for you until you make a change?
Oh, I don't know.
How many do you want?
How many animals do you think I would want to have until I can make a change?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I should say the answer should be 0. I'll change right now, but
Yeah.
so I do know, like, this is broad, but I do know like cows that are produce meat. They produce a lot of meat from one cow. So I don't know if I was just to use myself, maybe I would say like maybe 2 or 3 cows, and I don't
Really?
know.
But if you were in the shoes of those 2 or 3 cows, how would you want that? How would you want the other person to respond?
No, I
Would you
know
want
to
them
say no, of course not. Yeah,
Yeah,
of course. So
yeah.
I think, I mean, I think if you want to make a change and really make a change for people, I think like stopping really like a hard stop can make a big change.
Yeah.
And you can kind of say that with anything, like even with crime, if you like put up more strict like punishment for it, maybe it will cut it down. And same thing if you cut down doing like one thing and for a lot of people, then it will stop. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Let me just give you some resources, and
Yeah.
they'll help you kind of understand what I mean.
yeah,
Maybe watch Dominion.
okay,
It's one documentary. It's filmed in US, Australia, and UK.
yeah,
And they show the practices in animal agriculture, but you already kind of seem to know a lot
a
of
little
them.
bit, yeah.
Yeah, and if not, you should watch the most important speech you'll ever hear. It's a good speech. It's by a guy. He held a speech in front of a university in the U.S. I don't know
Okay.
exactly which university, but it's a really good speech.
Okay.
And you kind of get informed about eggs, dairy, all
Yeah.
this kind of stuff. And if you want to go vegan, and I hope you do, because you seem like a compassionate, honestly smart person.
Thank you. Yeah.
And you have there a thing called Challenge 22. They hook you up with a nutritionist. They send you recipes every day and help you go vegan for free. Yeah, you just
On
gotta
this
scan
QR
this
code?
Yeah.
Cool. And is this your social media?
Yeah, you have my social media there.
Okay,
also.
wonderful.
And I don't know. I hope you make better choices. And while you're in Amsterdam, keep in mind that the vegan restaurants
Yeah.
are actually monumentally better than the other restaurants, because the other restaurants are usually tourist traps. Like
Yeah.
So better. I just recommend you some.
Cool.
There's vegan sushi bar if you want to try sushi. and
Okay,
that's a
maybe I'll
personal
check it out.
recommend.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm Brandon, by the way. Yeah.
Chip. I remember Brandon, and show some fairness and
Yeah.
compassion. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad we got
Both
to
of
talk.
you, okay?
Thank you.
Cheers. That was a nice conversation. That's the thing when it comes to people like that who kind of get it. I feel like there's no sense in pushing them too much. I feel like it's kind of like giving them a homework at the end, right? It's kind of like, well, you should watch this, and I feel like then they get a bit informed about their choices. Give me a second, everybody. But so far, pretty good conversations, right? Where should I put this? So far, pretty damn good conversations, I think. Hey, Bible Dumb Podcast, nice to see you here. And whenever I see you, Davey, here, I gotta give you credit. Everybody, if you have never heard the Bible, or if you are like Well, I know what the Bible is. Don't tell me. Or if you are curious about a podcast that reads the Bible every episode, watch Bible Down podcast. That's a good one. They read the Bible every episode. I always enjoy it. And I'm not Christian or anything, so yeah. Gary Yurovsky's talk was at Georgia Tech. Interesting. Okay, good to know. I hope I remember that next time. Hey, John Cowtag. You say good evening. Hello. Yeah, we've had so far some decent conversations. It's only been 45 minutes and we already had a couple of conversations. I forgot what I was talking about earlier before this talk. Oh yeah, about animals. Somebody was making a point that animals eat other animals, and I was saying that one thing that lions do is they in a pride of lions, which again is a fancy word for a group of lions, in order to show dominance, one male will kill all the babies in that group just to show dominance and so that he can mate with all the females in that group. I would not think that it is moral in any way, so we should not be deriving our values or our morality from what animals do. We know a little bit better, we can choose a little bit better. So it doesn't really matter that animals eat other animals, coming back to the same point. What matters is that we can choose better. We are moral agents, they are moral patients. I would argue that there is some agency also involved in their decision making, but they're not nearly as cerebral or as cognitively, I don't know, gifted, I should say. I don't even know if I want to say gifted, but rather they don't have the same capability to ration like we do, to ration morality specifically like we do, right? So yeah. Why cows are bred to be eaten, says YM. Well, because why? Because people are choosing for that, right? Because people are paying for that. That's why it happens. Is it moral? That is the question. It's not why is it happening, but rather is it moral that it is happening? That's the first question you need to ask yourself. And then if you think that it is immoral, that we are breeding sentient beings into life only for the sole purpose of, that we can exploit and kill them for something that we don't actually need, for something that is essentially optional to us. And if you think that is wrong to do, then you gotta explore that a little bit. And I see somebody said, y'all will never change my mind, says YM. Well, YM, that's literally a very bigoted position to have. And it's bigoted by definition, you know. And I don't mean to be a dick to you. I want to kind of want to be honest with your position, right? Because if you think that you have a position that literally exploits and slaughters innocent sentient beings, you are being discriminatory. You are being being oppressive. That was the word. You are being oppressive towards these individuals, and you are not going to change your mind regardless of what anything says. It literally means that you are literally the definition of a bigoted. That's the definition of a bigoted view, because you are unostentedly and without any actual reason holding on to a view which is essentially oppressing other individuals. So yeah, don't be that person. That's why we're here. We're here to challenge views. We're not here to tell you how to think. We're here to tell you to think. That's it. Chance David says, you're becoming nicer, Chips. Just don't dehumanize them. They're just stupid bigoted. Sometimes I'm nice. Sometimes I'm, not nice. But I'm always trying to be direct and honest. And I think maybe, a little bit of niceness will go a long way. Guess what? I primarily eat venison and hunt for my food. And why would you think that is in any way moral to do so? You can always choose to not slaughter animals. If you can choose to not do that, how would you say that it is moral? If your intention is to kill an animal because you just want to get some form of sustenance from it, can you please explain to me how in any way that would be moral? Hey David, looking good, nice swag, thank you. So you're asking me how is it not moral? Well, let me ask you this. Do your values say that if you were to be sitting in the forest by yourself, right? That's what you're saying. Or in your own environment, in your home, and somebody who has power over you, maybe they're a different species, maybe they're not a different species. Doesn't even really matter because that's just a random categorization, a random line that we draw in the sand, right? And they have power over you and they come in and they slaughter, they kill you, they shoot you. Doesn't even matter how they do it. They kill you, they cut your throat, they cut you into pieces and then they eat you. Would that be fair towards you? Would that be oppressive towards you? How would you see it happening? Would you think that it's moral for them to do so? And the only reason why they would do it is because, they like the taste of your flesh, or because they can't do it. Is that really moral to you? Do you think we are equal to animals? Asks me somebody. Well, I don't think, as I probably weren't here when I was having the conversation with the person just before, but I'll explain it to you also, and I'll be calm when I explain it, and I'll be rational, and I hope everybody's listening to this. There's a difference between extrinsic value and intrinsic value, okay? Extrinsic value is the value that we place on others. We, animals, may not have the same value to you like they do to me, because the extrinsic value that I place on animals may not be the same extrinsic value that you place on animals. In other words, let's put it this way, your extrinsic value on your family is also higher than the extrinsic value that I have on your family, right? Like your friends, your family, yourself, you have zero value to me extrinsically, right? Like I would literally not care if you die tomorrow, and that's not because I'm being insensitive or something, but literally because you are a stranger to me. I don't know who you are, so you don't really have value in my life, right? So that's the extrinsic value. But if we judge everybody based on extrinsic value, then we could end up in situations where I could literally justify killing you or oppressing you because you have zero value to me, right? And that doesn't mean anything. What matters is the intrinsic value. I wouldn't do that to you because I know you value your own life, because I know you value your own life just as much as I value my own life, and just as much as an animal values their own life. The value that we place on our life, the value that we place on our whole universe, on our whole subjective experience, is equal to everybody. It's one for everybody. Everything else is 0 point in life, but your life is one. That's just it. If you can think rationally and understand my point, then I hope you did. That's it. So it doesn't really matter if animals or humans are equal to me or to you. It doesn't matter, because the reality is they are equal to themselves. Their life is just as important to them as your life is important to you. That's it. Too long, didn't read. I'm glad I came here. I had an adult conversation with some of you, and I will watch the minions, said Zigzag. Zigzag, that's awesome. I'm happy. I'm happy. Wow, that's amazing, Zigzag. Happy to hear that. Let's see what else some people say. I have a cat. He's valuable to me, but a human, even a stranger, even a convict locked up is worth more to me than my cat. Human lives are more valuable than animal life in my worldview, says Don't Cap. And that's okay, Don't Cap. That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine that you have your own value, I don't know, ladder or system of values, right? Where you place certain individuals more than other individuals on your value system. That's okay. We're not here to judge that. Nobody cares about that. What we're here to say is that it's not fair for you to draw a line and say, because you don't have any value to me, I'm going to exploit and kill you for something that I don't actually need, just because I get some pleasure or just because it's convenient to me. That's what we're here to tell you. Because you see, you wouldn't do that to a human being regardless of their value, because you acknowledge that a human being values their own life just as much as you value yours. In other words, you can be sympathetic towards a human being. But for some reason, towards farm animals, you've been so programmed to believe that they are like objects or something, that you can't seem to sympathize with their perspective, with their idea that they are individuals. They are individuals who don't want to be exploited or slaughtered. That's it. That's it. It's easy. Veganism is easy, man. It's pretty easy. It's just the idea that if you don't need to exploit innocent individuals, why would you ever choose to? That's it. Well, and it merely talks about non-human animals, of course. And everybody, if you're enjoying these talks, if you're liking these kind of streams, hit that like, hit that subscribe, comment the comments afterwards. You know, there's the community on this channel is freaking amazing. Everybody's supportive. Everybody just cares about animals, and we unite together with that under that umbrella, and we try to make the world a better place for everybody. Okay, so you know, do that, like, subscribe, and come back. I honestly, a lot of the times, you know, I wake up and I'm like, oh, because I have problems with sleeping. Ever since I was a young child, I've been having problems with sleeping. I'm one of those bad sleepers. And when I wake up, I obviously wake up like, ooh, in the days. And, you know, I go to the gym, and at the gym, I start reading comments. And it always brightens my day. It always makes my day a little bit nicer because I see all of these people commenting and saying hello to each other, interacting with each other in the comments. And it's just so nice. I always enjoy it. Yeah. What? Wait, what? Brave your brain fog, save your semen. It helps. I don't know, man. In order to not, yeah, I'm not gonna go that route. Okay, fuck it, I'm not good. It's not one of those days. I'm okay. I'm pretty chill today. Let's get some people going. You guys want to try a social experiment? I just ask you some questions. Okay.
We have to go.
It's odd, but it does. It will sleep better and wake up better. I don't know what to tell you, man. If I masturbate before bed, I definitely sleep better. Not the stream where I want to put it out there, but you know, yeah. Somebody says plants have feelings too, says Mr. OK. Well, Mr. OK, first of all, that is not true. You know why? Because I'll tell you what, emotions, feelings, sentience, subjective experience, they're all properties that come from either a brain or a central nervous systems. And plants have neither. But you know what? I'll just go with your statement. Let's assume Mr. OK, was it? Mr. OK? What was it? Yeah, Mr. OK. Let's assume, Mr. OK, that you're right. Plants have feelings. Okay, I'll give you that. I don't think they do, and scientific consensus is that they don't. But let's, in a hypothetical scenario, imagine that plants have feelings. Okay, then wouldn't it make more sense for you to consume as little plants as possible? We know for a fact that animals have feelings, right? We know for a fact that. So, in that sense, you would want to exploit and slaughter as few individuals who have feelings as possible, right? So then, when you're consuming animals or animal products, what you seem to be forgetting is that these animals have been fed themselves considerably more plants than you would have otherwise eaten yourself. So if you think plants have feelings, or you're somehow making this calculation about individuals being killed or stuff like that, then be aware that you would be killing considerably more plants if you consume animal product rather than an individual who consumes plants alone. It's simple, like physics, you know. You don't even have to think too much about it. So even in that situation, it is still morally preferable to be vegan. I'm just saying. But you know what? Being vegan is about the exploitation. It's not about killing. It's about rejecting the idea that animals are here for you to exploit, for you to own, for you to do whatever it is that you want. And you would argue that there's differences between, you know, exploiting an animal because you want to and killing a plant because you need to, right? Brandon Sage says not physics. Yes, it is physics. It's pretty simple physics. That's what the trophic chain is at the end of the day, right? Well, you know, you remember when you were young and you were taught this pyramid of food. This was called a pyramid, and it was a pyramid because it literally just showed how energy flows into an ecosystem. And it showed how, well, the grass gets its energy from the sun, or plants get their energy from the sun. Herbivorous animals who eat the plants or get less energy, that's why they're on top. And the animals that eat those animals get even less energy, that's why they're on top, and so on. So you see, you lose a lot of energy from being top of the food chain, from being from eating animals just because you can. Basically, you lose a lot of energy. So it's highly inefficient. It is cruel. It is unjust. And I would say that's the most important part. That it is cruel and unjust, not that it is inefficient. But if your point of view, if your problem or something that's holding you back is that, well, it's more efficient to consume animal products, well, it's not. And if you don't believe me, look it up yourself. And you don't have to trust me on this kind of shit. I'm not here to tell you, trust me, brah. No, I'm here to tell you things that you can look it up yourself afterwards and see if I'm right or not. That's it. You guys want to try a social experiment? Mr. OK says we can eat meat and plants. That's a fact. Well, Mr. OK, I don't think you're okay, honestly, because I literally just explained to you the position. You seem to not understand it, so I don't know. Maybe English is not your primary language or something, or you don't seem to understand it. I don't know what it is, but yeah, nobody said that we cannot digest plants and meat. We can. Of course we can. That's not the point. The point is just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something, is that, right? That's the point. You can do a lot of awful things in this world. Doesn't mean you should do those things. We can also eat humans, as James so well puts it. Doesn't mean that we should. Oh, somebody, Mr. Arcade says, you seem to have forgotten my moral considerations. We eat to survive, and because it's the easier route to go. Would you like to starve? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Arcade. Are you in a position where you would starve if you don't consume animal products? Do you not have access to a supermarket? You guys want to try a social experiment?
No, I have to go.
Try? Catch My Drift says we eat beef and we love it. Yeah. Yeah, maybe catch my drift. Maybe, for a second, try to consider the victims of your choices. Can you do that for me? Can you, for 1 second, stop thinking about yourself and what you like and what you want, and consider the victims behind your choices? Can you? Hey, LS. You want to try a social experiment? You want to try a social experiment? Are you okay being live on my YouTube channel? You don't have to, by the way, if you don't want to. Okay, that's okay. Enjoy your day. Hi, you want to try the social experiment? Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel? I just ask you some questions, that's it. Can you come a little bit closer so that you're in view? What's your name?
Tina.
Tina, nice to meet you. I'm Chip. Where are you from?
Here.
Here. Okay, love it. So, Tina, how do you feel about animals?
I like them.
Can I ask why?
They're cute beings.
What if they're not cute?
Still beings.
Still beings, okay. Do you think animals deserve moral consideration? And let me explain what that means. That means that if our actions impact them, then we need to consider their well-being.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Okay, okay.
Is this a vegan kind of?
It is, yes, exactly. Thank you. You already got to the point yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm on my journey to be vegan.
You're on a journey to
So-
be vegan. Can I ask why?
For the well-being of the animals.
Okay, okay. So why aren't you already vegan then?
Because it's a difficult change to go from meat your whole life to just plant-based products. Mostly.
And I can understand that the idea that any diet can particularly seem difficult, any dietary change can seem difficult, right?
Yeah.
But when our actions impact others, we should also consider the victims of our choices, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So then, would you say that is it more difficult for you or for the victims, like the animals?
The animals.
The animals,
No,
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. So, how many more animals should be exploited for you then? Because you see already on your way. Like how many more animals should go through this process until you're
I
Say
get
no
the
more.
I get the point, but you also have to understand that it's the way to get people to be vegan is not to work against them. So if someone is telling you they want to be vegan, don't be like, oh, why aren't you already? You know, what's stopping you?
Yeah.
Like it's a slow process.
Well, let me ask you this:
I do have to go.
if I was a misogynistic person, right, and I would all of a sudden wake up and realize that women deserve moral consideration, they deserve rights, should I take it a step by step and still be misogynistic from time to time, or should I be all of a
Should
sudden?
you know? Will that be what you would probably do? Yes, because everything is a process that goes step by step. Most things, it's just in human nature. I know it's not valid, it's not justified, and everyone should probably just make the step and make the change. But it's more difficult than that.
Let me give you something. Maybe it will help you out. Okay, since you have to go anyway. If you scan this QR code, there's a thing there called Challenge 22. They hook you up with a nutritionist and your recipes every day and help you go vegan for free.
Thank you.
Can you watch one of these videos?
Yeah,
Watch the most
I'll-
important speech you'll ever hear. You just gotta scan that QR code and it's there.
I'll
Okay?
watch it. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one. She got defensive really fast, didn't she? That was the fastest 1 minute conversation of somebody getting defensive and leaving far away. Mr. Okay, we don't run on moral considerations, we run off meat. Wow. Imagine that. Imagine doing your actions and not considering the victims of your choices morally. Imagine living in a world having so much privilege that you can go around doing whatever it is that you want without ever having to consider the victims of your choices. Isn't that such a privileged position to have? That you can just go around in the world, exploit, slaughter whoever you want, and because you don't get any repercussions for it, then you don't have to think about it.
Okay.
Are,
Hi.
are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Oh, no problem.
Can you come here so that you're in?
Yes.
Nice. What are your names?
Vittore.
Sara.
Pietro.
Vittore, Sara, and Petro. Where are you guys from?
Italy.
Italy. Okay. Okay. How do you guys feel about animals? I'll move here.
Animals, we feel good about them.
Feel good about
what
them?
do you mean?
Do you think animals deserve?
Depends on what you mean, you know.
Yeah. So fair enough. Let me ask you this: do you think animals deserve moral consideration? And by that I mean that if our actions impact them, then we should consider their well-being.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So let me put it this way: if I wanted to kill a dog, just because I want to, should I be allowed to?
Not really around here.
No.
In
not,
some countries you may be, but not here.
not here. But what do your values say?
Better not to.
Better not to. Okay. Okay. So then, if I were to apply the same logic but to a different animal, like a cat, would that be okay?
Cat.
No.
More or less the same, yeah.
More or less the same. What about a pig?
Yeah, I know that. That's an issue, of course.
Yeah. So would it be? Is it the same logic behind it? Should we still be allowed to do whatever we want to them because they're born pigs?
Yes, that's an issue that we have. Yeah, because we eat the pigs usually. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But so then, do you think that when eating pigs, are we giving them moral consideration?
I understand. Yeah, I agree with this point. Yeah,
What is it that you agree with?
that it's a problem to that somebody must consider the problem of eating other living beings, thinking somehow beings. Yes.
Yeah. So if you see it as a problem, then is it safe to assume that you would think it's wrong to eat other beings?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is to try and eat as less as possible. Yeah, I think that it's fair.
Fair enough. And if you were to find out that you don't
Zero, of course, is possible, but it's difficult. That's what I think.
so zero is possible, but it is difficult.
Yeah.
And you think like when we
Other things are possible and are difficult to do. So
fair enough. Like I just like when we do an action that impacts others,
yeah.
do you think we should be considering their well-being?
Yes. Of course.
Yeah. So then, when we consider this action and we say it's difficult, then do you think we should consider that it's difficult for us, or is it that it's considerably more difficult for them? Like when we make our choices to consume an
I
animal
don't.
product.
Well, I do not think that the human rights are as important as the animals' rights. I think that human rights are still a little bit more important, but that's my opinion.
And that's okay, you can have your own value system, and that's perfectly fine. But you can acknowledge that yourself, you have value because you have your own value. I have value because I value my life.
Absolutely.
And you can also acknowledge that an animal has value because they value their own life.
Absolutely.
Right? So to each animal, their life matters to them as much as our lives matters to us, right? It's not about extrinsic value, the value that we place on them. It's about the value that they themselves have.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
So then, in that regards, what is holding you back from never putting an animal into a slaughterhouse, from never exploiting them or using them as objects?
Because unfortunately I'm used to that and I like it.
Yeah,
That's I know that it's somehow unfair, but that's how it is, and I try to do this much less than in the past. Yes, I do, but I'm not able or willing yet to bring it to zero.
Let's go back in time now. 200 years ago, slavery was rampant in
Oh, I know
almost
this
across the world.
argument. Yeah, I know. But
Yeah. So if you were born in those times, do you think you would have been a person?
I
who
know
would have
this
stood up?
argument, but and I agree with it somehow. But this argument has a little defect of the necessity and sufficiency. It's not really the same thing. So I agree with this
But
argument,
we don't need
but
to
not
consume animal
completely.
products, right?
Well, somehow, in some point of view, we may need it. I still don't. I'm not an expert.
Well, I'm a certified
sufficient-
nutritionist.
Yeah.
I can tell you
I'm
that
not
we don't need it.
sufficiently an expert to be sure that we don't need it. I don't know. I
Well,
don't know.
either way,
if you
either
tell
way.
me, it's okay.
Well,
I
we
can
don't
believe
need
you.
it, and you can look it up yourself. You don't have to trust me on this, right?
Yeah.
I always value when people want to do their own documentation. But like, if you were to find out that we don't actually need any animal products, is there any moral justification to exploit and slaughter animals?
No.
No,
It's just an habit that we have.
an habit. And do you think that habit should continue just because it's a habit, or given the oppression behind it, that we should stop? Otherwise,
No,
we're just
I would
complicit
not.
to oppression.
I would not be so harsh with the people's habits and tastes to force them to stop it completely. But I agree with that. It's a problem. It's an issue, and it's a problem.
So wait, would you be harsh with people if people wanted to consume and eat a different race of humans?
It's not the same.
No, but I was just curious. Is it? I'm not asking if it's the same. Would you be harsh towards people that you would say that people should not be allowed to consume
But
or
they are
exploit a
not
different race
actually.
of
So
humans?
it's not an issue because it's already there.
Let's just say,
Fortunately.
hypothetically, it starts happening again. Would you
No.
have an issue with that when, say, people should immediately stop?
But it should not start again. It's not. This is not really logical.
Well, the fact that you say it should not start again already answers my question. That if it does that happen, you probably would want to stop it immediately, right? Because it is an injustice towards them.
Of course.
And it is an injustice towards these
No,
animals.
but
what we're
I
doing
really
to them.
agree with your point that it's somehow an injustice.
Yeah, but you agree with the idea that it's wrong to do this to animals, but you don't agree with the urgency of it. You seem to think. You
No,
seem
it's not. I don't feel it as being very urgent.
do,
No,
you,
no.
do you think we as humans should have the right to oppress animals?
The least possible, but yes.
You think we should have the right to oppress animals?
The least being as sweet and as possible, but somehow yes, because I don't think, unfortunately, that I am an old guy. I don't think that the rights of animals must be the same as the human being. No.
I'm not saying they should be the same, but one thing
I do
I'm
not
saying,
think.
I don't think oppression should be.
Of course, you can say that in the past also human races had different. I understand, but I think humans are all the same, and animals are not the same as humans.
What is that difference that justifies oppression?
No, nothing justifies oppression. Of course, this is difficult for me to argue.
But you seem to think that in the case of humans,
Necessity and
oppression should be
habit.
stopped instantly, whereas in the case of animals, you seem to
Yes.
think that it's okay to continue a habit just because it's a habit. It's
Yes.
okay to continue oppressing because it's a habit. So what is that difference that justifies the difference in view?
Conscience.
Conscious, but animals are conscious. They have there's two declaration of consciousness written by Nobel laureates. It's called the New York Declaration of Consciousness and the Cambridge Declaration of Consciousness. That admits that all of these animals are conscious.
Okay, I'll think about it because I'm not. Okay, I think about it.
Yeah. And do you think, like, let me put it this way: if I were to be beating up women on the street,
No,
and somebody
please.
were to be raising that to my attention, and I'm saying, "You're right, I'll think about it," is
Yeah.
that enough, or should I say I need to stop?
You need to. No, you have to stop, of course.
Yeah,
So-
I have to stop, of course, right? Because we acknowledge
But
that
also
those
if you beat-
individuals
But
deserve
also,
more
if you
consideration.
beat a pig in the street, it's absurd, and it doesn't make sense, of course.
Well, does it? Wait, let me put it this way then. If I were to beat up women not on the street but in hidden places, would that be better?
No, that's another good
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Like,
No,
like-
it's not bad. It's worse even.
No, yeah. What I mean to say is that an injustice is an injustice if there's an individual on the other
Absolutely.
side of it,
Okay.
right? And regardless if that individual is born a different species, I think it would be wrong to do this to them, regardless if they're a different
Come
species, a
faccio
different race, or
fermare
anything.
questo? È possibile. Come faccio? Ringrazio. Yeah, I will think about your
So I'll ask you this one
things,
question.
yeah.
A difficult
But I
one.
have to stop it because I'm not as enough fluent or accultured to go on with this because I cannot go on, because we are always the debate is not. I'm not able, so
Fair enough.
I have to surrender.
I didn't necessarily see it as in a debate. necessarily,
I
but
needed to surrender.
that's okay, but I'll just ask you this one final question. How
Yeah.
many more animals should be exploited or slaughtered for you until you change?
The least possible.
That should be zero, huh? That's definitely possible.
I will try for a while.
You'll
I
try
have
for a while.
Yeah, I will try for a while.
Let me just give you a card, okay?
Thank you.
So you have The Minion, I urge you to watch, or The Most Important Speech You'll Ever Hear. These are two
Okay.
really good videos that they teach you about animal
I'll
agriculture.
take a look at it.
And you have one thing here called Challenge 22. They
Yeah.
hook you up with a nutritionist, send you recipes every day, and help you go vegan for free. They help you curb the habit. That's it.
I thank you very much.
Thank you for having this conversation
And
with
good
me.
luck. If you
Thank
want
you.
to go on with...
You guys want to have a conversation with me?
Yeah.
We are
You guys are
Vuoi
young.
provare?
fluent as
Yeah.
Vuoi provare? Volete provare?
no, because
Very fluent guy, this guy.
But
Very
please
good.
consider the animals, okay? Because we need young people more than we need older people because, you're the new generation. We need people to change and do the right thing, okay?
It is a good thing you do anyway.
Thank you.
So good luck.
Thank you. It only matters if you actually also make a change, by the way, right?
A little bit you did.
I appreciate
Even with
that.
me.
Okay.
Ciao.
Cheers. Have
Ciao.
a good one. I mean, I don't know. I guess I just don't have it in me to be a dick today. And that's okay. Maybe that's working to our advantage a little bit, right? Maybe that's just working well today. Hey, Johnny Vegan Seed, nice to see you here. Keisha, nice to see you. Keisha, I was looking at your videos where you're playing the trumpet. Oh my God, that's so cool that you can do that. Amazing. It's really cool. Moonrise Studio says, I think you're getting better results. It's true. I think the people who I'm speaking to may end up in a better position. But I don't only do this for the people that I speak to. Saxophone, Keisha, saxophone, thank you. Chip, you cannot expect a 60-year-old man to change in 5 minutes conversation. Be realistic, bro. Fair enough. You're right. Uh, but we gotta set high standards for ourselves so that when we don't meet them, we get depressed and kill ourselves. I'm kidding, by the way. Let's not do that. You're right. Hey, Deltian, nice to see you here. Yeah. And by the way, everybody, I think there's a lot of vegans right now in the chat. And I appreciate you guys being here. And you see, I wear this with the free shirt, and I actually want to start wearing a little bit more of this kind of merch because I just want you guys to know that you can, if at some point you ever want to do some activism yourself. You don't have to do like I do and speak to people. But with We the Free, we have so many roles in the team, and we need so many more activists every time. Every time we do the We the Free event, we have so many people. Like we reach around 60 to 70 people on that day, and even one extra person would mean a lot. So Red Pill Pete says, Chip, hey Red Pill Pete, nice to see you here. And so yeah, I just want you to I want to incentivize you a little bit to go out there and do it because you will enjoy it. I'll guarantee you that you'll enjoy it. You will enjoy speaking to other vegan people. You'll enjoy making other vegan friends. And not only that, you'll be making friends with people who have the same value system as you and are actually fighting for animals also. And I feel like everybody in this chat is kind of like that anyway. So, and I saw you Moonrise Studios. You said you went vegan overnight, right? That's pretty cool. I theoretically also went vegan overnight. Practically I was vegetarian for a long time, but not because I found out what the vegan argument is and I was like, oh, I'm gonna take my time, but rather because I just thought vegetarian is enough. Can you guys hear the music? It just feels like I'm at a wedding right now with this music. Hey JD. My family is not vegan, neither are my friends. It's a lonely path. How do you deviate from the crowd? Space Money, I urge you to actually look if there's a We the Free chapter in your area. You might find people who share the same values as you. Hey, you want to try a social experiment?
What can I do?
I just ask you some questions, that's it.
Just some questions.
Yeah.
Am I on TV now?
Say it again.
I am on the TV now.
You're on my live stream on my YouTube. Is that okay?
Huh?
Is that okay for you?
Yeah, it's okay, it's okay.
Okay.
But, are they difficult questions?
I hope not. How do you feel about animals?
Oh, what do I feel?
How do you feel about animals?
They are our friends.
They are our friends.
They are living
Exactly.
just like us.
Do you think that we should be considered their well-being when our actions impact them?
Yes, we should consider about them.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Oh.
So then, do you think that when we consume animal products like meat, like cheese, like eggs, are we considered their well-being? Are we considered...
No, but we need it.
We need it. What if you were to find out that we don't actually need it?
Previously, we needed. Now, in these modern times,
Yeah.
you have more.
Exactly.
More choice.
Exactly. You touched upon it greatly. So given that we have choices nowadays, is it fair for us to oppress animals?
Not fair.
Not fair.
But I still eat meat.
But you still eat meat.
So
Isn't that a
because
form of
I know-
oppression?
Because I know that I need it.
But
Because I'm an animal myself.
yeah.
You
yeah.
are an animal too.
But animals do all these kind of awful things where they kill each other. Are you gonna kill somebody today?
No, I'm not planning to kill somebody today.
But you're an animal.
But maybe tomorrow also.
Maybe tomorrow.
But animals kill animals too. Lions
Yeah. Yeah.
kill other.
But in all
animals to
fairness, you
eat.
would find that immoral, wouldn't you,
Yeah.
right?
But
I feel like you're joking when you say that.
Yeah. Animals do the same things, you know. We are all animals.
Yeah, but we what I'm trying to say is that although we are all animals indeed, we hold ourselves to a little bit of a higher standard, right? Like while you said, like as I said, animals kill each other, we as humans wouldn't find it moral for us to kill
And
each
we have
other, right?
been, since humans are on this earth, we've been nothing. We have doing nothing else than killing each other and others. Until today, we are killing each other.
But you
Look
wouldn't.
what is happening in Ukraine and in Gaza and all over the world, all the places in Yemen and all the places. and it's all the politicians who are doing this.
Horrible.
The normal people.
It's horrible.
Yeah, that killing is going on. Is going on.
But you yourself would say it's wrong to kill, right?
Of course, it is wrong.
Yeah.
Only when it is justified for your food to live.
Yeah, but
If I'm on sea,
but if you don't need it for your food, then it becomes optional food.
Yeah, yeah.
How is it then justified?
because my human and animal body needs it really.
Well, it doesn't really need it.
There are
Biologically, you're the same as me. You have the same nutritional requirements.
You don't eat meat. That's why
Or
you're
any animal
here.
products.
That's why you drink milk.
No.
And when you was a baby, you drink the milk of your mother.
Perhaps, I don't know.
You have. We
Yeah.
need it.
Well, I needed it as a baby,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
needed my mother's
That
milk.
is the best feeling.
And my mother consented to giving her my milk, giving me her milk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But do you think any of these animals consent to having their throat cut?
No.
Or being killed?
No.
No.
No. No.
So then, is it really okay for us to do this to them for something that is essentially optional to us?
It is optional, but sometimes you need it.
Well, if it's optional, then we don't need it. That's the
Yeah,
definition
but
of
sometimes
optional.
if I'm in the sea, on a boat, and there's nothing.
Are you on the sea on a boat right now?
No, but if I'm there, I have to catch
Okay.
fish.
But then, if you're here in the city, how can you morally justify doing that?
No,
when
no,
you're
when
in
I'm
the
in the
city?
city, I don't do it.
You don't consume any animal products?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so then how is that moral to you?
Yeah. Moral is dependent on time and place. Huh?
Yeah, so
It's
when you're in the
dependent on-
city, how is it moral to
It
consume
depends
animal
on
products?
if you are in the polar states, in the North Pole, South Pole, you
If
have
you
to
have
eat.
access to an alternative, how is it moral?
Yeah, no. You want to catch me on the word moral, but I will not go with you.
It's not that I want to catch you, it's that you don't want to admit that it is immoral to exploit and slaughter an innocent animal for something that is essentially optional to you.
Moral is a human word.
Yeah.
What is moral here is not moral there. Huh?
So
It
I'm asking,
depends
what do
on-
your values say? Is it okay to exploit and slaughter an innocent animal for something we don't need? Your
If
values.
If it is not needed, it is not moral.
Okay.
But
So
if
then-
it is needed, then
Yeah, so how would you define need then?
huh?
How would you define need?
Need is when you have to live.
When you have
As
to live.
live as a
If you
human
would
being.
die otherwise.
Huh?
You would die otherwise.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is moral.
Is that the case for animal products? Would you die if you wouldn't
Here
consume
in
animal
the city,
products?
it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
So you can
You can
choose
survive. You can survive in the city.
You can survive
They
and be
can
very
die if
healthy without it.
They want to live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And you are here for we the free. Oh, now I understand.
Yeah, I'm here to speak on behalf of animals.
Oh, you are here.
Yeah.
But from which country are you?
Originally from Romania, but I live here.
Oh, Romania.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
They have beautiful people there.
they have. Yeah. Also, beautiful animals who are exploited, just like
But
they're
Romania
here.
Romania is called after the old empire of the Romans. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that, given you seem to speak about the past, in the past, we had this view that we needed slaves and that slaves were necessary. Do you think slavery was nice?
It's not good,
It's not good.
but humans do things which are not good.
Yeah, but we should strive for not doing those anymore,
Yeah,
right?
sure, yeah.
Yeah. So
But-
if I bring it back to what we do to animals, where we're literally enslaving them and exploiting them, is that good?
That's true. We are exploiting them.
Yeah.
That is true.
Is that good to do?
Not good,
Not good.
but now I have to leave.
Now you have to leave.
Thank you.
Okay. Can you promise me you'll try to not exploit animals?
I'm not exploiting animals.
You're not exploiting
No,
animals.
no,
You're
no.
paying for it, huh?
I'm not.
You're
don't.
paying others to exploit animals.
I eat meat.
So
but
you're paying others to exploit them.
Huh?
You're paying others to exploit them.
Yeah. No. I'm not paying others.
No? How
Not
do you
good.
get your meat?
In my youth, I used to hold chickens.
And you would kill them.
Yes.
So that would be you exploiting them directly.
Yeah.
So nowadays,
But now I have to go.
and now you have to go. So
Okay.
now you pay somebody to exploit them.
No, I don't pay anybody.
Well, you buy your meat from somewhere, don't you?
Yeah. I don't.
Where does that money not go towards exploiting an innocent sentient being?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Consider them morally. They also deserve to live. Thank you so much, vegan. I mean, that was nice to him. Vegan activists and vegan people, you are giving me so much hope and love to go in this life, hoping that this world will be a love world in the future, Marcos. Yeah, Marcos, we're trying. We're trying, you know? The cognitive dissonance is strong with this one. It was indeed. It's nothing we can do, you know? At the end of the day, I'm not gonna. I feel like I would do the animals a disservice if I wouldn't try to at least get them to admit that what they're doing is wrong. And to some extent, he was kind of there. Fortune Dennis asked me, where are you from? Well, I'm from Romania, but I'm living here in beautiful Amsterdam. I'm here in front of a museum. How much do you bench? I don't know, man. I guess my 1 rep max is somewhere 120, I think was 125 kilos. I don't know what that is in pounds. I'm assuming you would ask me in pounds. I don't know what that is. So 125 kilos. That's my max 1 rep max the last time I tested it. Maybe it has improved. I haven't tested it in a while. You guys want to try a social experiment? Okay, we have 15 more minutes, everybody. We're gonna do our best. What's your weight for reps and how many reps to failure? Well, for reps, okay. Well, today I did.
Have a good day.
Hey, thank you. You too. So today I did slow coming down for bench, holding it for 1 second, and then coming back up. So 3 seconds down, 1 second hold, and then explode up. And I did 5 reps with 105 kg today. So I don't know. It's okay, I guess. It's controlled, it's repeated, you know. I try with bench press to not go more than 5 reps because there really isn't a need. But my last set, my 5th last set was 6 reps, the same thing, but with 95 kg. So there you go. Moonrise Studios says perfect reps. Well, Moonrise Studios, they suck so much. The slow and controlled, 3 seconds down, 1 second pause, and then explode up. It sucks so much. Whew. But yeah, indeed, they're a muscle killer. That's how I did squats also today. I have 1 day per week where I do this slow controlled squats because I do full body almost every day, and I did squats also slow and controlled. Sit down at the end and then explode up. And the nice thing about squats was that my problem was always at the bottom, and I no longer have a problem because of that. Hey,
May I ask what kind of social experiment you're
I just
doing?
asked you some questions, that's it.
What kind of questions?
Oh, that you'll see. You wanna try?
Oh, why not?
Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Okay, you know what? I'll give it a
What's
shot.
your name?
My name's Sumant.
Sumant, nice to meet you. I'm Chip. Where are you from, Sumant?
I'm from Berlin.
Berlin.
Yes.
Nice. Love it.
I'm here on a vacation with a friend of mine. And yeah.
I'm gonna go to Berlin Saturday, so perfect.
Oh, nice.
Nice, yes.
I'm returning on Sunday.
Oh, you're returning on Sunday? Okay, nice. Are you by train? Bus?
By train, yeah.
Yeah, nice, same. Okay, so let me ask you, how do you feel about animals?
Animals. Love them.
Love
Love all about animals.
Love all about animals?
Yes. I love going to national parks, love seeing the wild animals. I'm a truly animal lover.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think animals deserve moral consideration? And by that I mean, if our actions impact them, then we should consider their well-being.
I mean, mostly yes. Depends on like what kind of actions are we talking about. Like if obviously if we're doing something that destroys the environment, destroys entire ecosystems, where some animals go extinct, yes, we should definitely go to consideration. But I don't know, are you trying to drift to the topic of like eating animals or like eating
Also,
meat
yeah, also that, yes. One of those things, yeah. Regardless of the reason, I think, is there any reason, I was gonna go into exploiting animals, yes. Do you think animal exploitation is okay, or is it just?
It's a difficult question to say if it's just or not. We should definitely. It's not like this. I don't have a heart for animals because I eat meat, and not because I don't have a heart for animals. But
You don't have a heart for those animals.
for those, yeah. But the thing, what I'm meaning is like,
Can I ask why? What is it about those animals that you think they deserve to be exploited?
I don't think. I don't think they deserve to be exploited. How do I say it the best way? Okay, I wasn't prepared for this, so.
That's okay. It's okay.
But like when I think of it, it's definitely a difficult topic because you're eating animals, but at the same time you're saying you love animals.
Exactly.
I feel like it's definitely going to more. How have those animals been treated that I've eaten right now? Like those animals that are like being mass farmed. Definitely not. Definitely not supported. That's cruel.
Why?
I mean, you stuff them all. You stuff like a bunch of animals, like a lot of animals in like one farm or like so. I don't know what they call it.
Let's give them a lot of space. Would that mean it's okay?
I mean, as long it depends on the animal's well-being. Like stuffing them all in a house, feeding them with antibiotics medication, which also pretty much harms us. But like mostly about the animals. If we give them like a free space where they can like actually feel or like where they can freely move around, where they can still live out their animal their lives.
Would then taking their life with a fraction of their lifespan would then be okay? Would it be moral to you? If you give them a good life, would it be okay? Would it be moral to then kill them for something that is optional to you, just because you gave them a good life and because there are some animals that you don't give value to?
I mean, the way you're asking this question, it makes you feel bad.
It's not my intent is not that. My intent is merely to get you to think a little bit from the perspective of those animals, because
Yes.
from their perspective, it really is that way, right?
Exactly.
Like let me ask you this: chickens, for example, right?
Yes.
What age do you think chickens are killed at? They can live 10 years.
I would be only guessing right now. So
Yeah, just give a guess.
they live up to 10 years. So I guess I think it's lower than 5 years. I think I would expect it to be lower than 5 years.
It's 40 days.
40. Oh right.
You see what I mean?
I definitely see that.
So the reality of animal agriculture is that the first thing that happens in animal agriculture, we sexually exploit them so that we can multiply them. We don't wait until when they want to multiply themselves. We multiply them, right? We choose that for them.
Yes.
That's already fucked up in my book, personally.
That in my opinion is also cruel.
Yeah. And then once we bring them to life, if it is for meat, the minute that they're at the biggest that they're ever going to be, we kill them, because there's no sense in keeping them alive going
Yeah.
forward, right? Because it's an industry to them. It's their product. They're seen as products.
Yeah.
But if it is for milk, why do you think cows produce milk in the first place, actually?
Sorry?
Why do you think cows produce milk in the first place?
No, to feed their newborn.
Exactly. So we already established that they get forcefully inseminated. But when the babies are born, what do you think happens to the babies?
No, they're either taken away from from their mothers because they want to exploit the milk, obviously.
Exactly.
And even like I don't know, in Germany there is something we call cow sludge, where it's basically the meat of the young cows.
Yeah. So if they're born male, indeed, the cows born for meat, raised for meat, are different than the cows raised for milk. They're a different species, because the cows raised for milk, we selectively bred them to have these giant udders so that they produce a lot of milk, which, by the way, is very bad for their health. They have back issues and all this kind of stuff. But let's put that on the side for a second. And yeah, if they're born male, they don't produce milk, so they kill them.
Yep.
There's several farms in Netherlands who they don't even kill them, but they let them to starve to death, which is even worse.
That sounds fucked up.
Yeah, and if they're born female, they same fate as their mother. Repeatedly impregnated, repeatedly babies taken from them and exploited for milk. And at some point they kill them. Do you know when they kill them?
The babies or the mothers?
The mothers.
The mothers. I would guess the moment they become infertile, because that happens with every animal.
Exactly.
I don't know when that happens with cows, but
Well, repeated impregnation for any being, like no being was meant to be repeatedly impregnated.
yeah.
And it happens around the age of 6 to 8, and cows can live 25 years. And they get killed at 6 to 8 years, so a third of their lifespan, something like that. And you're right. They kill them when they can no longer get them pregnant. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't this kind of messed up? Like, can you really call yourself animal lover and be part of this?
You put the real figure right there.
Yeah.
But I respect that. I have to think about that.
You
It
have to
actually
think.
makes me think, because it sounds like really cruel, and I'm gonna be open. I eat meat pretty much like every day.
Yeah.
Like there's barely any day where I don't eat meat. There's definitely substitutes to that, and I would have to I would have to have that go through my mind.
Let me ask you this: if you were to go vegan, do you know how many animals you could save every year?
I don't know the precise number per individual. I wouldn't know.
Between 100 and 300 animals.
I see.
Is that not enough animals for you to consider them?
I mean, for sure, I would have to try to go vegan. I mean, I did try eating vegetarian once. I mean, it's definitely doable for me. I mean, I grew up eating a lot of meat, so like, it's difficult for like a human to just all of a sudden stop eating meat. Like,
It's something you did your whole life, every day, 3 times per day, right?
yeah. So
Yeah.
like,
I can understand that, but like,
I'm like trying to shift also like to like a little less meat, or like a diet with a little less meat. I'm trying to shift towards it as well. And now this is giving me like another bump.
because I see you're right. You're thinking. The only thing that I gotta say is that you're thinking a lot about yourself and your diet, which is great. But if you think about your actions that impact these animals, and you say we should consider animals morally, right? We should consider
Yeah.
if our actions impact them, then do you think is there a number that you could answer to this question if I ask you how many more animals should be exploited for you before you change going forward?
I can't really give an exact number.
I can't give an
It's-
exact number, but what would you
it's-
want that number to be?
I don't. That's a question I
As
really.
an animal lover,
As-
how many animals should be exploited for you as an animal lover? How many would you want?
I don't want to give a number. I just like I don't know how to respond to that.
Yeah,
Really.
because
Like-
I'm guessing in your mind right now there's a contradiction, because on one side of you kind of want to say 0 because you know that's the moral correct way to say it, but on this other side you know there's this something that you've been enjoying your whole life, and you kind of don't want to give it up right away because you've been enjoying doing it, and maybe you're looking forward to
Yes.
one meal, right? Yeah, and I appreciate that, but like, you know, I feel like we can get food enjoyment from all these other plant-based products ourselves, and we can find all these products like that replicate the taste so much, and maybe we'll have a taste difference there, but then we really gotta ask ourselves what our values like. If that taste difference really justifies the oppression, the exploitation, the slaughter that these animals go through for us.
Yeah, I mean, you started made me think again, because yeah, it's something that someone neglects like all the day when you through their diets. You keep forgetting that stuff like this happens, and I feel like this is also like a position of the general people that
It
they
is,
would call
yeah.
that they would call themselves an animal lover, but like this part having neglected, and most of the time, I admit I forget when I buy the meat.
That's
I
by
don't,
design.
I don't,
It's not your fault. It's the fault of these industries. They intentionally make it so that you forget. Because if you were to know, if you were to see, like, can you hold this for a second?
oh sure.
And I'm going to show you a little bit of kind of
Like, I
what
don't-
animals go through.
But like,
and-
I don't want to be rude, but I have to go soon.
yeah,
because
that's fine. That's fine. I'll just take 1 minute. And
All
I'll
right.
let you know. So this is the where they kidnap the babies. They take them away. They separate them. This is what some of the practices. They dehorn them and they
Yeah,
attach.
that
This-
is absolutely cruel.
This is kind of standard practice. They have to jerk off a bull and then put their hands in their anus to inseminate them with semen in their vagina. And eventually, all animals end up in exactly the same place. And I know I know you don't want to see this. I also don't want to see the reality, but it's something that if you're part
I
of
want to
it,
see, but this is the best treatment. This is the best way to convey the message.
that's the sad reality. It's like when we see this kind of shit, animal agriculture hides this. Slaughterhouses are better guarded than prisons. It's insane. Like they're like, it's so difficult to get into a slaughterhouse because
Wow.
because it's about their money. When
Yeah.
it comes to money, they don't want people to see this kind of shit. And if you were to see this on the meat aisle, you would be like, hell no, I don't want to be.
No,
part of it.
obviously not.
Exactly. So, I urge you to have you're a compassionate and fair person. I urge you to do a little bit of mind work and make the right choices for yourself, And I'll just give you one resource to help you with all of this. There's Dominion here. If you just
Yep.
scan this QR code, there's Dominion or the most important speech lever here. Can you promise me you'll watch one of these two? Just one of them.
I'll have a look at those.
Okay,
For sure.
okay. And if you decide that you don't want to be part of any of this and actually be an animal lover, as you say, then there's Challenge 22. I know, but we gotta say it. There's Challenge 22 there. They hook you up with a nutritionist, send you recipes every day, and help you go vegan for free. Okay?
All right, I'll have a
Okay.
look at it.
Okay,
thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Have a look and actually
Yes.
make changes, okay?
Yes.
Because animals depend on us.
I really respect you. You really put me in a real bad
I hope so.
situation.
I hope so. Well, maybe watch your discussions back. You have my YouTube channel.
I will
there,
definitely do.
okay?
But yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
Cheers.
Have a nice
good
day.
one. Yeah, you too. Man, I'm starting to think that being nice is actually better for when speaking to people. Huh? Oh, look at that. We got the crop that's argument in the chat. How do you justify the killing of all ground mole squirrels, rabbits, all the living insects that are slaughtered for you, for your plants, plus their habitat ecosystems being destroyed? Any explanation? Yes, Midnight. I have a very good explanation. And listen to this, Midnight. I'll explain to you exactly how I can justify that. First of all, I need to eat something, right? Inherently, my existence will involve some form of harm, right? I'm sorry, that it just does. But let me explain you to this. There's a difference between having animals as property, exploiting, slaughtering them just because you can, right? There's one. And accidentally, or let's not even call it accidentally, but you killing animals to protect crops or for you to make plants in order for you to survive, right? There's a difference between one is in the way and one I'm intentionally going towards them, right? There's a difference there. You can acknowledge that first difference, yeah. Number one. Number two, you and other people have been, and I'm sorry to say this, but you've been so brainwashed by this animal agriculture that you seem to forget that animals are fed plants. Animals are fed considerably more plants. You know, it takes 6 to 8 times more land to grow 1 gram of animal protein versus 1 gram of plant protein. So if you think that at a certain portion of land, there's a certain animals that are being killed for that crop production, then obviously if you multiply that by 6 times more animals will be killed. So when you're exploiting and slaughtering an innocent sentient being, right, aka animal agriculture, you are also killing all those other creatures that you claim we kill for crop agriculture. Surely plants we don't need should be immoral for vegans, right? Such as tobacco, says Toki Mecca. Listen, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not about being perfect, okay? It's not. It's not. It's literally about not exploiting animals. There are systems that contain exploitation, such as plant agriculture, such as phone manufacturing, such as cloth manufacturing, such as, I don't know, everything in this world. I think because we live in this capitalistic world, everything to some extent has exploitation somewhere down the line. All those systems are fucking horrific because they contain exploitation, and that exploitation needs to be definitely tackled, right? Let me put it this way. There's some form of child workers, maybe when you buy a phone or something, right? Let's put it that way. There's some form of child labor in a certain country where you know your phone or your device is coming from. Well, if you don't buy that device, if you say, fuck it, I'm not going to buy this device, nobody will. It's not that child labor is going to go away unless you make like kind of a serious protest about it and that company actually wants to change. What is going to happen is that child labor is still going to be prevalent in that country because it's a systemic issue in that country. It's something that needs to be tackled, and I'm not making an excuse for them. I'm just explaining that that's an issue that needs to be tackled. All systems that contain exploitation need to be improved, need to be worked on. Whatever the reason is, I think every system kind of has a different way of approaching them, right? Whether that is going out on the street and protesting, whether that is maybe rejecting some products as a form of protest and posting it as a status or something so that those companies know what it is about. That's one thing. But a system that inherently depends on exploiting individuals is a system that can never improve. Because if a system depends on exploiting, then if you remove the exploitation, then that system no longer exists. Animal agriculture is a system that inherently depends on exploiting animals. It's a system that cannot possibly exist without exploiting animals. It's literally in the name. It's animal agriculture. It literally implies us controlling the breeding process for animals and us slaughtering animals. It will always be this way, regardless of how you tackle the methods of or the life of that animal. It will always be exactly this: an exploitative process, an exploitative industry. The only way to improve on that is to get rid of it. So let's get rid of animal agriculture, because that's where most of our values, including the people who are here in this chat, I would assume, that's where most of our values lie. And I would argue that you may say, well, no, that's not where my values lie, but I'm sure that most of you in this chat will in no way say, well, I would gladly exploit and slaughter a dog. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. You just consider dogs morally, but you wouldn't consider, but you should consider all animals, because there's no morally significant difference between them. I switched up the sign, everybody. I'm now holding the sign: if you're not vegan, you're supporting needless animal exploitation. Remove capitalism and look at animal agriculture in that society. Basically the same system, says David. You know, I actually come from a system where, do you agree with the sign? It doesn't have enough arguments. And capital, like blaming it on capitalism is not a good blame, by the way. My family lived during communism. We exploited animals during communism also. It's not about the political system in place. It's not about the economical system in place. It's about the fact that we see animals as individuals who we can exploit and slaughter, who we can do whatever it is that we want as long as we benefit from it. Do you agree with the sign? It says if you're not vegan, you're supporting needless animal exploitation. Do you guys agree with the sign? Yeah, see, somebody says I'm a vegan and I don't think capitalism is a bad thing. They're not necessarily related. That's the whole point of it. Somebody says I had a bacon and egg breakfast. Well, good for you. You had the products of exploiting innocent animals. Do you guys agree with the sign that says if you're not vegan, you're supporting needless animal exploitation?
Yes.
Are you vegan?
No.
So you support needless animal exploitation?
No. But
But what?
I don't know. I do not support it, but I want to be vegan.
You want to be vegan?
Yes.
Okay. Can I ask why?
Because I think it's sad what happens to the animals.
Oh, that's cool. Let me give you a card then. It will help you out. So, watch the most important speech you'll ever hear, or Dominion. You can see what happens to animals.
Alright.
And then you have here Challenge 22.
Alright.
They help you go vegan for free. They
Okay.
hook you up with a nutritionist and send you recipes.
Alright.
Okay?
Thank you.
Cheers. Have a good one. We gave a card. I don't know if it means anything, but there you go. Cloud Strife says, I feel sad about the animals. So do I. We all do. Man, I think at the end of the day, if you're vegan, then you're at least not yourself participating in this system of exploitation. You're rejecting it. And if you're an activist, well, that means you're also doing your best, because on top of just rejecting the system, you're actively trying to change the system. You're actively trying to get others to also reject the system, so that we can save more animals, so that we can, well, the reality isn't we're saving animals, but rather we're sparing them the idea of being brought to life for the sole purpose of being exploited and slaughtered, which in my book is pretty fucked up to do. Sean's non-existent hairline says, activists are annoying. Well, maybe, but maybe you only consider them annoying because you hear their point of view and you realize that maybe there's something in your life that you need to change, and that kind of is triggering something within yourself, and you just kind of are too afraid to actually tackle that. I don't know what to tell you. It's annoying for people to fight for others' rights. I don't think it is. I think it's something that is needed. And we should have more activists for animal rights. We should have more activists for human rights. We should have more activists for trans rights. We should have more activists for women's rights. We should have more and more activists. We had people speak up on behalf of everybody. It doesn't really matter if we annoy other people. What matters is that we try to get society to change, that we try to make the world a little bit better. Navia says, I like being annoying. There you go, Navia. You are activist material, Navia. I thought livestock was the politically correct term. It is not. Livestock. Would you call a group of humans livestock? No. Livestock is literally the objectifying them. It's objectifying them as much as we can. We're literally calling them stock that is alive. Livestock. Terrible ruling in Scotland yesterday. Honestly, I didn't see that, but I heard it's something about trans rights or some ridiculous thing. I haven't read about it. If anybody can summarize it for me, please do. Is farm animals okay to say? Yeah, Mama J, I think it's okay to say farm animals. I think it's the best is to say farmed animals. I think it's kind of really puts the emphasis on the idea that they're not animals who are intended for farming, but they're animals who are farmed. You know, there's a difference. Like when we say farm animals, I guess we're kind of giving them this qualifier that the whole purpose of these animals is for them to exist on a farm. But that's not really fair towards them, is there? Those animals can exist outside or anywhere else and should exist outside or anywhere else if they so desire, though. Jib Mick Cause says I call them protein. Well, none of those animal products are actually good sources of protein, so I feel kind of bad for you for trying to get your protein from those sources. They're not really good sources of protein, one, and two, they are sentient beings with desires. Well, that's actually number one. They are sentient beings with desires, with thoughts, and with a subjective experience of the world. Calling them protein is nothing more than objectifying them and reducing them to a mere product. You're basically doing exactly what all the humans have done throughout history to other individuals who have been oppressed. You're literally, I think that's literally called a microaggression, if I'm not mistaken, but yeah. Oh, give me 1 second, let me blow my nose, blow my nose. Okay. But animals don't have a consciousness, though. Yes, they do. Animals have a consciousness. Of course they do. They have a subjective experience of the world. That's coming from their consciousness. They have a brain. They have a central nervous system. Why would you assume that they don't have the emerging property of consciousness like we do? What do you think makes us so special? We're not that special, man. We're not. We're just monkeys who can use tools. That's it. Well, not monkeys, primates, but whatever. Hey, Fly Sensi. Because sentience isn't what you actually value from the human experience. You actually value the human experience, hence why you don't afford this logic to abortion. Sentience is what we value from the human experience, by the way. Sentience is exactly what we value from the human experience. Midnight says there's never been one humane death in nature. Well, Midnight, what was it? Midnight, just Midnight. Okay, well, why is it that, first of all, there's never been one humane death in nature? That's one thing, fair, whatever. I don't think any death is actually nice or humane unless there's some form of consent to it. But keep in mind that these animals in animal agriculture, they're not dying. There's a difference. They are being killed. They are being murdered. They are being used as objects and slaughtered against their will and then chopped into pieces, also that you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, look, I had some protein, or whatever it is that you want. Because if you disconsider them so much or their individuality so much, I gotta ask, why aren't you disconsidering the individuality of cats, dogs, or even of humans? Why? Why is it that you think all of a sudden that a human being is that much different from an animal? That, well, we're actually animals anyway. That you somehow think that it's okay to do whatever it is that you want to them, as long as you perceive some benefit. I'm just curious. Like, why exactly would you think that it's okay to do whatever you want to animals, as long as you get some form of perceived benefit? You agree with the sign? It says if you're not vegan, you're supporting needless animal exploitation. Okay, everybody. I think that's it. I'll just hold this sign a little bit longer. Let me also show the violence towards animals, so that we're sure that we're on the same page. Then we're gonna go. Sorry, let me see how to put this properly. Yeah, and remember to subscribe. We're having these conversations pretty often, and we're constantly getting people to think. You agree with the sign? You don't agree? Some people look at me, they look at the meat, they look at the sign, they look at the image, and then they go. I don't think those people are vegan, but I think they're like, maybe I should look into it. Cloud Strife says they're not slaves, lol. I'm a slave to my animals. Cloud, I don't think that is true, or is it? If you have animals that you exploit and slaughter for food, that means you breed them into existence for a purpose that you give to them. They don't decide for themselves. That means you feed them whatever you think is right for them. They don't decide for themselves. And when you feed them that, you don't feed them because that is the right diet for themselves. You don't have their intent in mind. You have your intent in mind. You treat them like slaves. You enslave them. You keep them in enclosed spaces. They don't have freedom. They don't have freedom of choice. They don't even have freedom for their own body. Their body is at your control. If you at only one single day think that it is time for you to cut their throat and chop them into pieces, that's what you do. That's literally, I don't know, enslavement. Just because they're not the same species as us. Midnight says free range farms exist. Yeah, Midnight. Why? Why do you think free range farms exist, Midnight? Do you think free range farms exist because farmers want to treat animals nicely? Or do you think they exist because consumers demand it? Cloud Strife says, I have never personally hurt an animal. It doesn't really matter, Cloud Strife. If you're not vegan, then you have hurt several animals indirectly. It doesn't matter if you personally did it. It's not about that, is it? Somebody says we don't need you here in Amsterdam. Well, la-di-da, let me tell you. Voedsel fruits de echte. I don't give a shit if you need me in Amsterdam or not. Because I'm a Dutch citizen, so I have all the rights to be in Amsterdam if I want to be. But thank you for that, because you don't need me. Yeah, who needs somebody to fight for animal rights? That's right. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult, huh? Nobody likes to be told that something they're doing is wrong. Yet if you're doing something wrong, we kind of do need people to tell you that you're doing something wrong, right? There was a big group. I just had to show them. I am that Chip, and you are more than welcome, says the vegan plant. Thank you, Erwin. For every creature of God is good, and nothing to be refused, it be received, and thanksgiving, for it is sanctified by the word of God and prayer. Moon, brother. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Yeah. I think that's it, everybody. You know, I will do a little bit longer in times. But you know, I'm pretty pretty tired these days from working out a lot, having this freaking virus. So yeah, that's it. But yeah, it was a pretty good day, Martin, indeed. And I think we had a lot of conversations. And I don't know if anybody who's been watching here who's not vegan actually got them to think a little bit. Erwin asks, when will you be back online? I actually don't know, to be honest. I'm hoping tomorrow, but if not, then maybe on Sunday, and maybe from Berlin. I don't know, because when I come to Berlin, Alexandra and I will do some events, so I might just go live with some events where you don't actually, where I don't actually speak to people on the street. So there might be some of that live type of live where you just see kind of the protests that we do and stuff like that. Yeah, that's kind of one of the things, but I don't know exactly. I'll try tomorrow. We'll see exactly, because I also have to pack and all this other stuff. Either way, I know there's a lot of people here who don't really seem to understand what veganism is, and I know that a lot of you probably will be, I don't know, thinking that we are just here telling people what to eat. We're not. We don't really care what people eat. You know, being vegan is literally just about respecting animals. And obviously, as a consequence of that, we're not going to be chopping them into pieces for optional food. No, we don't care. We really don't care. I don't care. I just know we don't care what you eat. Let me rephrase it so that you understand it perfectly. We don't care what you eat. We care who you eat. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? We care that you don't eat sentient beings. We care that your food does not come from exploitation, abuse, and slaughter, especially given that you have so many choices to avoid that. So why not avoid it, you know, like morally? And yes, you'll come up with, well, protein, well, all these other reasons that you can come up with. Reasons that, by the way, we've all heard time and time again. So, and there's always arguments against it. But you know, maybe think a little bit for a second before you come up with all the reasons and justifications that you actually want to continue doing what you're doing, and actually think, do you really think it's okay to bring to life a sentient being for the sole purpose of exploiting and killing them? And don't just bite the bullet and say, yeah, of course it is, because then you could justify all sorts of bad behavior, all sorts of it. Slavery is one of them. Slavery implies kind of the same thing. All forms of oppression are fairly similar. You know why? Because all forms of oppression, in the end, they have a victim and they have a perpetrator. And if you are against oppression, if you think oppression is bad, which is literally in the definition cruel or unjust, so most people should think that oppression is bad. But if you are considerate enough that if you are oppressing others, then, and you see it as important that you stop if you are oppressing others, then come on, man, just do it. Just stop it with these ridiculous excuses. Do your documentation, look into it, and, you know, make changes. That's all we're here to do. And look, somebody says Islam is the real problem, to be honest. No, there isn't. The real problem is you. If you are participating in animal oppression, the problem is you. There's no, you can blame it on the government, you can blame it on the religion, you can blame it on any other places, but you know that deep down you are making these choices. You know that you are the responsible for the choices that you are making, and you know that when you're making these choices, you are oppressing an innocent sentient being. So stop it with finding excuses and blaming everybody else. That's just another form of absolving yourselves of the responsibility you have as an individual. Don't do that. Be adults. Be grown up and accept the responsibility you have. Okay. Pia says, watch Dairy is Scary. That's one of them. There's a 3-minute video in the description of this video. Watch that. See what you're paying for. You saw this guy who came into this chat, Suiso, says keep eating chicken nuggets, people. That's what he said. He came here for the people who are fighting for the rights of chickens, like myself, and he came here to say, you know what? Don't listen to these people who are fighting for the rights of chickens. Fuck chickens. Fuck the rights of those innocent beings. Fuck them. Let's chop them all into pieces and deep fry them so much that we wouldn't even know that their flesh is theirs. But let's just keep doing that. Come on. Come on. Really? We can do better than that, can't we? We're something. No worries. Either way. The problem is we are conditioned to eat meat by our parents. I'm trying to kid, but it's like an addiction. They need rehab for carnivores. SC. Well, thank you for saying that. You know what, SC? There's a link in the description of this video. It's called Challenge 22. They hook you up with a nutritionist. They send you recipes every day, and they help you go vegan for free. So if you're really serious and you want to do it, do it. You have the link right here. They help you out with everything that you need. Everything else, that's it. That's it. Let's be better people, okay? Let's stop it with these excuses, okay? The government also pays the farmer, so that's another problem. I'll agree with that. There's other problems, completely. There's so many other problems in this world. And animal agriculture is not one where only the consumer is to blame. I'm not saying that you're the only one at fault. Obviously, there's a lot of individuals to be blamed in the situations, but it starts with you. It does. That's the sad thing to know, you know? It starts with you. If you are the one who are actively choosing for an animal product, you are actively choosing for an animal to be oppressed for you. So it does start with you. Once you stop that, we can change the systems. We can do other things, but it starts with you. It's the responsibility that you need to take for yourself as an individual, for your choices. You need to take responsibility for the victims of your choices also. Yeah. That's it. Jamo says, oppress animals, never stop. See? There's people who don't consider animals morally. There's people who don't have any rational reasons behind it. They just really don't want to change themselves. They just really don't want to take responsibilities for their actions. They really just don't want to be mature or grown up about their choices. Don't be like that. No. Be grown up if you're listening to this. Be better, okay? Wait, Moonrise Studio says, we don't care what you eat, just who you hurt. Exactly, because it doesn't matter if people eat meat, since it's about the animal being harmed for that purpose. I think it's an important distinction. Exactly. Is that a D&D hat, asks Wade. Yeah, it's a D&D hat, yeah, critical hit. I haven't actually played D&D. I did play tabletop RPGs, which have the same principle, you know, have critical hits and stuff. But yeah, I would like to play D&D though. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. If you're not vegan, watch the 3-minute video in the description of the of this video of the stream. There is literally, it takes literally 3 minutes for you to watch it, and afterwards you're presented with so many resources that you can make choices on your own. You can still make choices for yourself. You can still make choices. It costs you nothing to just watch a 3-minute video. It costs you literally 3 minutes out of your time. And then you kind of say, well, at least I know why these vegans, what they're talking about, you know? Nobody's asking you to change. I'm just saying, watch that video. And if you feel the need to change, do it, okay? Wade says, go try 40K. I don't know what that is, but interesting. Thank you so much, everybody. And somebody said, I see Pia says, Apex, we don't need your respect, the animals do. And that's a very well put point.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You may say to yourself, well, I respect vegans. We don't really give a shit. We don't care. Honestly, that's it. I hate to say it. We don't really care. We don't care. We don't care what you if you respect us or our choices. All that we care is that you respect animals yourselves. It's like a misogynistic person saying, "Well, I respect feminists. I respect that they have the courtesy of giving women rights." I wouldn't do it, but that's what I do. You know, that's exactly like what you're saying when you're saying you respect vegans, but you yourself wouldn't be vegan. You respect people that they acknowledge that animals deserve moral consideration. You yourself wouldn't give moral consideration, but you know, you respect the people that do. And I saw Mama J says, I do respect animals. I give thanks and prayer before eating them. Mama J, I mean, come on, really? Do you really think that if I was to give prayers and thanks before cutting the throat of a person and then chopping them into pieces to eat them, that would be somehow better? No, it's not. Just because you say a prayer or some form of thanks before doing a horrible thing does not make that choice of doing a horrible thing any better. Come on. We know better. But that's it, okay? That's it. I'm gonna go now because I'm just rambling and I feel like, yeah, I'm not here to ramble, okay? Subscribe if you want to hear more from me, and go to the comments. As I said, continue conversations in the comments. Everybody here is willing to help. We're all just here to look out for animals, to care for animals, and to make the world a little better place. Okay, bye bye everybody. I appreciate you for being here, and thank you so much for the donations. I think if I'm not mistaken, Marcos, you were the only one donating, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you. I'll see you. I hope tomorrow, and if not, sometime Sunday, something like that. Okay. Somebody said gay. Thank you. Gay is a compliment on this channel. I don't know if you know. If you say gay, that's a compliment because you know why? Being gay is awesome. Just like being straight is awesome. Just like being trans is awesome. Whatever your sexual choice, whatever your gender choice is, we appreciate you and we respect you. While you know what we don't respect? When you force others into exploitation and slaughter. That's what we don't respect. We respect body autonomy on this channel. If you respect body autonomy too, go vegan.